Welcome, world, to Giant Slayer series. That's right, we're back with the last day of the week. We only do it 2 days a week, but it still feels sad when it's the last day of the week, even though it's 50% of the games. Anyway, I'm DoA, that's Frodan. Frodan, fresh off a full day of casting, means it's time for him to cast another game for even longer. So how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. Just got my voice warmed up a little bit for the main attraction.
Only
Here we
takes about
go.
8 hours or so.
That's right.
Yeah,
Just gotta
it's a good
idle
warm
it
up.
for a little bit. I'm excited. Tonight is going to be a special night for Giant Slayer series because it is
Mm,
fresh off of a new patch. Normally, we don't get to have this kind of cadence for us because patches come out on Wednesdays,
right.
historically for League of Legends. But today came a B patch for 10.8 with a change to Dark Stars and Star Guardians. So let's see what's cooking, Doa.
Man, it's gonna be wild, right? Because we've been saying for a long time, two of the strongest comps are obviously Star Guardians and Dark Star, and the two main units from those compositions got nerfed pretty hard today. Cinder's mana went way up, and Shaco just got a bunch of changes. A bunch of he got an increase in attack damage, but a big decrease in damage on his ultimate. So. People are already seeing pretty big changes in terms of how those compositions perform if they're built and run the same way they were previously. So we're going to need to see some adaptation. I think it's easier to adapt with Dark Star right now to this change than Star Guardians necessarily. But I'm really, really curious to see if the players are just not going to touch it or if they're going to try different things. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think for Dark Stars, it's one of those things where it's still very solid, and people who get scared away from the nerf actually benefit that a lot. I
Hmm.
played a lobby right before we went live just because I want to get the feeling of TFT and getting that mindset right beforehand.
Sure.
And there was only one person going Dark Stars, and they went uncontested and got Shaco 3. And it turns out Shaco 3 is still pretty solid if you just itemize him correctly.
Shaker 3 is
And the
Shaker
Dark
3.
Stars, it felt more beatable, but at the same time, it was still very powerful. Like it just didn't feel like I got blown out because like Shaco wasn't one touching everything and then
Mm.
immediately restoring his entire health.
I mean,
So it felt more reasonable and in line.
I'm kind of actually a little bit excited about the Star Guardians nerfs, honestly, because I've been tired of having my favorite comp contested over and over again in all the lobbies. So maybe if people think it's bad, I can just keep playing it and keep getting top fours, keep moving up in the ladder. I'm not necessarily disappointed with that. But enough about that. Let's move on to the format. Check out what we've got in store for tonight. As you can see, we are in week 3 of games, and we do have one extra day of regular matches next week because things are a little bit shuffled with the Valorant launch, but you can see how everything kind of breaks down. 10 points for first place in a lobby, and then 8 and downward from there for second through 8th place. And so we take those points, compare them all at the end of the night, and see who won basically, and then that feeds into an overall point standing. We also have a prize pool, of course, associated with the tournament. First place gets 700. We wanted to kind of make it a bit broader so that even if you show up and things don't go so great, you still at least go home with a little bit. We want to incentivize players to take the game really seriously and play really hard. And so we want everybody to get a little bit of something.
Yeah, totally. And I think the little bit of something goes a long way because a lot of these players they want to compete
Yeah,
mainly for the pride and just kind of get the reps in while competitive is still young, and also maybe get them in front of the eyes of sponsors if the competitive scene continues to develop. And
right.
if you look at, for example, last weekend's charity event that you cast along with Crowan, players are still trying their very best, even in those competitive environments, even if there's nothing at stake for themselves, and they're only playing to benefit other people.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is the kind of game too that really just attracts people that want to be very, very competitive, cerebrally, where you don't play this game at a high level if you don't have a lot of drive, because it frankly takes a lot of drive to like grind the game enough and learn enough to like be good at it. It's a complex game to master. So the people that are up in those upper echelons like are really there because they love it and they want to compete, not necessarily because they think it's like a pathway to fame and fortune or something.
Yeah, totally. And I think that for now, people play because they love it. We'll see if years down the line, TFT new up and coming rising players are just in it for the money, Doa. They don't they just remember the
That's
days when we played TFT for fun.
Yeah, I know. And then a Delicious Milk just going mech every game. He was doing it for the lulls, right, man? He wasn't doing it
Right.
for the Lamborghinis. That players like Gunmay at 69 points are gonna be able to purchase when they go superstar in like the next 365 days or something like that. We will see. There's our standings overall, and like we mentioned previously on the show, there's one group of players that have played one less day of matches than some of the other ones. So some of the players down towards the bottom of the list, it may not be totally accurate as far as their point score looks. They may end up performing. They may end up performing a lot better than that by the end of this thing. But just the way the schedule got a little bit switched around means that the points are going to be looking a little bit uneven until the end. Speaking of that schedule, let's take a look at it. There you go. So we saw Lobby A yesterday. Today, Lobby B, April 21st. Becca, DeliciousSmilk, Rayditz, Soju, Soulless, Kiyoon, KitingIsHard, and DSick should be a pretty awesome lobby.
Yeah, I've been paying attention in particular to how Souless has been doing lately, and he has been killing it to say the least. It seems like
Yeah.
set three Teamfight Tactics Galaxy is one of Souless's, or it could just be his set. Like I think overall people are looking at him as potentially being one of the top players, and then on the other side we have players who everyone knows has been good for a long time. Delicious Milk, Kiyoon, Kiting, Soju, players who have always been top of the ladder. And then you have people who are challenging the throne. Like Becca has been growing with each set. Like I know that she was a little bit behind, but in set three she's been particularly ramping up her competitive drive. She's been hitting the challenger ranks, and she's been even during the PBE days when Galaxies was first being put on that server. She
Hmm.
was very much grinding all those in houses and learning a lot. So I look forward to see if Becca is going to be able to, ride that fence because I know that she's a streamer first, but she is also a competitive player, and I love seeing that. I want to see that drive more from her.
Yeah, one of the few players in the tournament to have two wins already out of lobbies. Pretty elite group as far as that goes. Some players having one wins, very few have two wins right now. But funny enough, we do have at least three players in the lobby tonight that have two or more wins in Giant Slayer series. We've got Delicious Milk, we've got Kiyoon, and we've got Becca. And if there's another one, there may be. I forgot about it, but at least we've got those three. So a lot of winners in here. But what I'm most interested in seeing is Kiyoon versus Delicious Milk. Both these guys have been me mech, no scout, no pivot, hold hands down to seventh and eighth. And I was watching Kiyoon's stream before the show began today. He said he was going to go mech no matter what. Delicious Milk was in the chat trying to convince him not to, trying to say, hey, man, I've got more mech infiltrator games played. I deserve to be that mech infiltrator player. Kiyoon's having none of it. So we'll see, man. It could be one of them might give in, but they might just end up holding hands down to 7 and 8 today, too. I'm really curious to see
Yeah.
how that's going to shake out.
Yeah, and more importantly, it'll be about. I want to see the chat, the banter between them two in game. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that ends up panning out. I don't think they'll both directly open the mech infiltrator, but how will
Yeah.
they pivot into it is the question. And I am a believer that I think that mech infiltrator could very much be back on the menu as one of the top dogs of the meta. There's also a couple of beliefs that perhaps the KO compositions, which kind of always just been waiting there to be a top tier comp, if not already is a top tier comp,
Right.
might actually get that little boost because some of the comps holding it down might have fallen a little bit.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm just like entranced by Delicious Milk's webcam, which appears to just be a picture of an empty chair, thus cementing himself as the mech infiltrator player.
That's right. I
Yep.
believe that is customary. Whoever has a more scuffed stream gets to be the mech infiltrator player.
Yeah, exactly, man. You just go AFK once you get it. Oh, finds a tier. Okay. You know what was interesting to me? I was going back and looking at some of Delicious Milk's games today, and in Giant Slayer series, he's actually managed to pick up Demolitionist spat 5 out of his 8 games. That's a lot actually. And with spatulas becoming more available now, even you can expect that to kind of continue. But it surprised me just like how many times he actually got Demolitionist Kaisa online with this build.
Yeah, and I think that that is a big difference maker between whether or not you can kind of like safely land in the top four to gain LP, or if you're going to be winning the lobby potentially. I think
Right.
that big stun from a demolitionist spat makes a world of difference.
Hey, speaking of which, there's a needlessly large rod. So halfway there.
Very much so. But Milk starting off with some early cybernetics units favoring units like Leona and Fiora on the bench. Cybernetics has just kind of become the staple of your early game. If you were to think of it from the previous set's perspective, I compare the three cybernetic start to a woodland druid start.
Totally,
You're
yeah.
just kind of cementing your early game, and you're very open to pivoting to a lot of different things.
Mhm.
And I think that that's an okay thing. I think people are saying like, oh, cybernetics might be too strong early, but three cybernetics also falls off dramatically towards the mid stages of the game unless you get the right items and you're committing to it.
Right. Usually, cybernetics players will rely on something like Mana Reaver, a little bit of Celestial, or a little bit of Chrono through the mid game to kind of like bridge that gap between three cybernetics and six cybernetics pretty comfortably. And I wonder too, like how much cybernetics is going to come back a little bit. It's pretty well played, but I wonder if we're going to see it even more now that Star Guardians and Darkstar have been a little bit nerfed. I'm curious. You mentioned Souless earlier. What was it, 28 games he got to Challenger? Was that right? From a fresh
Was it
account?
28? Jeez, that
Yeah.
few?
Yeah. It was, I believe it was 28 games. He played Dark Stars up to Challenger on a new account. So it's a very strong comp. And this was, of course, before the patch today, but like you mentioned earlier, people can probably just pivot who they put those items on a little bit more of a Jin focus, maybe than a Shaco focus, like we've been seeing, and recreate that success. But yeah, Solus has been crushing it, but he's also been playing a variety of compositions in our tournament too. Like last time out, he was last week. He played Void, Star Guardian, Cybernetics, and Darkstar. So something different every game. So I'm kind of curious to see what he's got today. On board with Kiyoon now, our other supposed mech player. We'll see if he gets that online.
Yeah, I did a little bit of diving, and you are correct. It was 28 games. I just wanted to
Yeah,
verify and see with my own eyes.
I know,
That's
right?
absurd.
I can't blame you for doubting.
Jeez. I know.
I
I mean, it just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, I read that too, and I was like, no, he didn't. And then I actually like read a little bit about it. I'm like, wait, what? he actually did it. Darkstar is that good, and also Solus is that good. To be fair,
Yeah, Souless
early
is very good,
grades.
and I have no doubt that I'm just looking at this match history now. I'm just trying to
Mhm.
and try to process it.
Or
But
take it all
the
in.
takeaway is that Souless is pretty good at the game. In the meantime,
Yeah.
I actually do like this level by Kiyoon here. I think that the level 4 on at stage 2-2 is being explored a lot more right now. I think most people have agreed that leveling cadence has generally sped up back to similarities to set 2, where you
Mhm.
want to level a little bit quicker than usual. And I think that's good because it ultimately gives people like options of like how they want to play aggressively, which was lacking in the previous patch.
Right. It's not so much the situation where if you level and then you lose the next round that you've just wasted a bunch of gold, right? You still kind of give yourself again like more options to preserve HP through those early rounds, and ideally beat the Terror Bursters, but you never know. That gets a little bit complicated. Kiyoon playing really wide actually right now. I would imagine he's got enough to sell up to 10 without doing the math. Yeah, he's got 9 on the bench right now, so he could if he wants to.
Yeah, just evaluating whether or not if he wins or loses. He's on a win streak and he did prioritize his items. He has this
Hmm.
Shojin right on that Fiora, but if he's about to, I mean, if he is probably going to make goal. It's all about what he wants to keep here. I'd be
Right.
kind of surprised if he chooses not to make goal, given that he is win streaking and he's winning very decisively.
I'm kind of a little bit surprised he'd slammed the Shojin so early, but I suppose theoretically that could work on a Kaisai in a similar way that a Seraphs would help her get more casts as well.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's totally true. I mean, Shojin doesn't seem nearly as flexible as like Seraphs and
Yeah,
other
it's definitely not
items
as
like
good,
that.
but
Yeah, Kiyoon, I just realized that he is also adapting another more modern strategy, which is pre-leveling before you hit the carousel. So that way
oh,
you
right.
roll into 2-5 and you get that natural level 5 roll to potentially spike an epic unit. However, what is this? We have a full item carousel at
Yeah.
2-4, and now Kiyoon's left just picking up the pieces.
Well, he gets I think Ludens is probably what you want here. I mean, because Warmogs is not super great on the mech if that's what he's still planning, but Warmogs you could or Ludens you can again maybe put another good but not spectacular item on the Kaisa. We'll see what's up. On board with Becca now, who's building another
Ooh,
Rage Blade. So
spicy.
now she's played Slash Brothers before in the tournament. Had a rough week last week. I think she went 7-7, 6-6, but it's still a legit build, and that build a lot of times likes to use a couple Rage Blades on Master Yi. So you could do this, or you could do the Kale that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, Mastery or KO. Rage Blade seems very versatile and also could just be an item that you play on Xerath if you want to play Dark Stars
Oh yeah,
and you
totally.
just still want to have that Dark Star carry. Oh, but she does end up losing, which is, I think, totally okay. You know, Becca is losing in the best way possible. She's losing by 1 unit and she's keeping
Right.
this lose streak. And if I were her, I'd probably consider trying to ensure that I do lose this final round, so that way I can just carry the perfect loss streak into the Krugs PV round. However, how do you do it when other people are trying to intentionally lose as well? Looks like Basic and Delicious Milk both are losing even harder than she is.
You probably just replace the Caitlyn 2 with a Zaya, and then you just frontline everything and spread it out. She's just letting things be the way that it exists currently. Runs into a pretty powered up Zaya, actually, and that's a Kale already for Soulless. Super early Kale, which is going to get pretty scary with the items that he's already got access to. Nice Ash Arrow, though. But
Yeah.
that's not going to be enough.
Great. And so it worked out perfectly for Becca. She's lost and she's lose streaking perfectly and now has 30 gold. Does have to consider if she wants to level here just to get that extra board presence. I think this
Hmm.
this 4 unit should be able to get there. I just
Oh,
don't want
yeah.
to. I just never feel totally safe here.
I'm totally on board with you. I always go to 5 just because I don't trust myself. But
Right.
on paper, Double Ginsu's Caitlyn 2 should be able to handle the Terror Bursters, right? With 2 Shens. WTF, 2 Shens. But
Just need you and Monte Cristo to be cosplaying and
I know. I have no idea where
running
that
across the
costume went.
stage.
Doing our Shen poses.
Yeah.
Yep. For some reason, OGN played like the Kill Bill theme when we were doing that on stage. I have no idea why, but they just did that. So if you
They
go
just
back and
thought it
watch the
was.
clip, it's the Kill Bill theme while we're doing
I
Shen cosplay.
I think they just want to do some cool music, and that Kill Bill music definitely was a good soundtrack.
It's cool music. Yeah, I'll give him that. Well, Becca
Um,
successfully takes down the Terror Bursters without needing level 5.
yeah, and it makes sense given that as long as you have the tanks, Caitlyn will eventually kill them all, so not a
Yeah.
big deal. Becca's gonna try to lose one more time to conserve her gold count before she levels and rolls. I'm sure she's gonna go to 6 next turn or consider doing so.
So, Dusik, check it out. Going for the Space Pirate opener with blasters. Can be very strong. You can get a lot of gold theoretically from a Darius resetting and from a powered up Graves. And I like that he's got Blaster in there as well. Obviously, EMP really good. Darius gets one dunk, but unfortunately ran into Souless, who's got that early Kale that we looked at earlier and that super powered up Zaya. And yeah, that's going to be a tough board for Dusik to beat. Now, he did play Brawler Blaster in one of his games last week, 2 games of Cybernetics. And then, interestingly enough, his 4th game last week was just classic straight up Rebels, right? Which is Aurelion Soul and the good stuff and all that. So, curious to see what he's going to go for today.
Yeah, and I think that Daystick in particular is one of the more dark horses. I think most people recognize the names of everybody else, except for Tarkov only. That's
Yep.
not their actual username.
Yeah, that's right. That's I believe that's kiting. I think it's KitingIsHard. Yeah, I had to search a little bit to figure that out today, but cross referencing other games led me to the conclusion and to the proper account to find his results from last week, or to
Yep.
find the comps anyway. But yep. And
And
it looks like
Daystick with a
Soju.
very big losing streak, going to continue losing, almost losing a little bit too much life.
Yeah. There's a Graves too, but he's
Okay.
definitely in the losing too much life arena right now. 64 gold though.
Right. 64 gold, does have the ability to go to level 6 right now, and he's still not. A lot of people really do like committing to going to level 6 a lot faster than this, so a little bit surprising
Yeah.
to see him take it this low, and him taking this much damage does make me feel as if Dasik is gonna be trying to catch the knife, and it's gonna be a really difficult thing to do against players of this caliber.
I mean, it's getting really tough. He's gonna be like trying to catch like Cloud's Buster Sword at this point. That is a big blade to try to grab out of the air.
Did you
And
finish FF7 Remake?
no, not yet. I've been too busy playing TFT. I need to
Wow,
do
look
it.
at
I'm
this
gonna play
guy. What a
some.
nerd.
I'm gonna play some later on. Yeah, like whenever I play a single player game, I'm like, my brain goes, but you could be playing a game competitively against other real people, and I'm like, brain, you're right. Let's log on. But then I feel bad because I haven't finished it yet. I'm like the only person in the world, so I
don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. I've been trying to play more TFT lately as well. I haven't you can always play more TFT in my opinion.
Yes.
I have so much fun playing it, and I wish I had more time to even play more.
You definitely get stuck in the one more game loop pretty often with TFT, I feel like. We're going to go over to KitingIsHard's perspective. One last note on DSIC. He did go 6-4-7-5 for game results last week, so only breaking the top 4 once with Cybernetics. Other than that, it was a pretty rough day, so we'll see if he can step up a little bit today. Looks like a 4 Vanguard start with a bit of chrono for KitingIsHard, aka Tarkov only now, apparently. And we'll see how far I can carry him. It's a solid opening. 4 Vanguard is pretty tanky, obviously. You do lack in damage, but he's got such a beefy Xayah that he's going to be able to put out a ton of damage with that. Xayah's kind of emerged as this really, really strong early to mid-game carry and a great Kale items holder. Also a good item holder for like a Jinx and sometimes even like an Aurelia. But a strong start for him either way, and as you can see, just absolutely tearing apart his opponent right now. Rayditz not having much of a chance, despite having that strong Lucian in his back line.
Yeah, and I think that this early game carry scenario leading into Kale is one of the most standard, but also in my book, one of the harder ways to go about it. I know it sounds really simple, right? Just get the 4 Vanguards and just kind of put the items onto the Xayah, but
Sure.
I don't know. For some reason, I've been running a little bit into more problems. Perhaps maybe it's because I, don't position nearly as well as kiting does, obviously. So, I have to figure out like what I need to do to make it effective, because I don't always have things like the Quicksilver to just let Xayah in the back or Kale in the back do it. So I feel like I always kind of get destroyed. But then again, it's also a new patch. So perhaps with fewer Shakos out there to challenge my carry, maybe it's time to start playing it again.
That's a really good point. Kale. Unstoppable. Becca has the Rage Blade on the Kale. That's going to do a lot of damage. But I know what you mean. I've started backlining a couple of my tanks when I go 4 Vanguard to protect like the Caitlyn and the Ashe, or like whatever damage dealers I'm trying to utilize with that. And then, as the build goes on, you can kind of replace those backline tanks with other stuff and move things around. But that's always been my answer, is just backline your 1-star tanks, make sure your DPS don't get grabbed, and that's usually decent enough. Until the Shaco jumps on you anyway.
Right. Well, in this case, we're going to see what Kiting ends up getting. Does have that tier and that open vest. Probably the need for Bramble Vest is still very high, although doesn't get it. Does have the ability to make a Zero Portal and a Frozen Heart, reasonable items, as well as Titan's Resolve and Redemption. All very solid second priority items, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Could even make another static Shiv and go really crazy with the Shivs. I've seen the clip of the Xayah 3 with 3 static Shivs, just deleting teams. But that's not that probably isn't anything any reasonable person should ever go for.
Yeah, well, this is another person that's leaning towards the Kale composition. We were kind of talking about how a lot of people seem to be favoring Kale now that there's fewer opportunities to get to her, and you can maybe see why. Jeez.
Yeah.
Rapid Fire Cannon and Rage Blade still just as strong as ever. Rayditz, one of the most consistent players week to week. Can he keep it up for week 3 here?
I'm honestly concerned, Frodan, because if you don't have infiltrators jumping in the back lines, like what do you have to stop this Kale in the mid game? Like what comps are out there that are really going to contest this Kale?
Well, if Kale doesn't have a defensive item, you can always use Blitzcrank position and try to mess her up. And there's ways to even play around the Kale protecting Kale in the corner if you use
Mhm.
Blitzcrank and put a Zephyr onto it, and then Kale no longer is safe in the corner.
True. So does Zephyr
Outside of
suddenly
that,
become a higher
not
priority item now in the meta?
yeah.
I wonder.
Perhaps I'm not sure. I mean, I do think Zephyr is always a really solid item. I think no one will ever say that Zephyr is a bad item. I just think
Oh,
if
for
that's not
sure.
as high a priority as other things. And also, we kind of mentioned Mech Infiltrator potentially coming back here, and Delicious Milk forcing the Mech
Woo.
Infiltrator, looking
Yep.
pretty solid.
He's doing it. And he's got a good start, too. He's got 2 great mech items on Rumble and the Titan's Resolve and the Bramble Vest. And he's got pretty good items on Kaisa as well in the Morellos and a tier. So a little bit of mana, a little bit of like health anti-healing, I guess you could say. But I wonder what Kiyoon is actually going for right now then. If Delicious Milk is committed to mech. Are they really both going for it? They're both pretty low in the standings right now. But generally, Mech Infiltrator players do lose a bit more HP these days before they really come online.
Oh yeah. And I think that the Mech Infiltrators, they just have a little bit less consistency, but
Yeah.
surprisingly, their early game damage, or rather their early game is just still a little better, just that they scale much worse than before.
So
Um,
many Kales. So many Kales in the lobby.
but one has a Kale 2,
Yeah.
and Becca went to 8, but Rayditz hit Kale 2 on 7, so yeah, you can be a level up, but if your carry is a superior version to your other person's carry by an entire factor, because 2-star to 1-star is such a big deal, then
Yeah.
yeah, that happens.
So a lot of interesting stuff on this carousel. Defensive items, but also some early 5 costs as well. You get the GP in there. There's an MF as well. Got grabbed by Disick, who may have been heading towards Blasters last time we checked in with him. Might
Yeah,
be a good early
Milk
pickup.
really indecisive. I think he was heavily debating which defensive item he wants, and
Hmm.
I believe he already had the Quicksilver on his mech and a Titan's Resolve. So I think he was debating if he wanted to start building getting a cloak so that he could perhaps use that cloak in combination with a few other things like a Dragon's
Yeah.
Claw or an Ionic Spark. But I think Vest is a little bit better because you still can build Bramble Vest or Guardian Angel, both really good things to place on the mech.
I believe he had a Bramble Vest and a Titan's Resolve already on his mech.
Oh, okay, okay,
So
okay.
so he'd be probably looking for that QSS, like you're saying, or maybe like a Trap Claw or a GA. I still like GA on the mech, but then you run the risk of getting Zephyr, of course. On board with Souless now, playing the Dark Star build like
Oh,
we've seen. Frontlining the GA Shaco, interesting, because Shaco dies, buffs up the Dark Stars, comes back, and still does Shaco things, theoretically. And
right.
at 1 star, why not? I actually don't mind this.
And it's a very clever play to
Ah,
have, Dark Stars be nerfed, and everyone's starting to be like, maybe I won't play as much Dark Stars. And then Solo just plays Dark Stars, and he's doing great. He's leading the lobby, and as what I was
yep.
talking about, Dark Stars I don't think are bad at any by all means. I just think that they're more in line with the expected power level of a good composition. Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Spikes a Xerath in the top and
All right
replaces the
then.
Mordekaiser instantly.
So you were right. You were saying this the other day that you thought people were going to start keeping the Jarvan and replacing the Mordekaiser. And this is really interesting because you've got a Shaco with the G in the front line, the Onyx Spark. Jarvan can buff the Shaco's attack speed with the ultimate when Shaco comes back from dying, or even before that. And then Xerath is theoretically able to do more damage from the backline. So we're seeing a really interesting adaptation on positioning too with Dark Stars.
Yeah, perhaps Souless is going to use Shaco very freely.
Oh no.
Before Shaco was very clearly just trying to assassinate the carries, and still probably can. But
Yeah.
very curious to see how he adapts to the new patch now that Shaco's damage has been considerably nerfed with his ability going from 300% base to now just 200.
He does do more regular attack damage. Like every attack hits harder. So I wonder if we're now out of the Shaco meta and into the Tanko meta, where people are going to start frontlining their Shakos with GA and maybe put some tanky items on him actually, and then just say, hey, he's going to do a lot of damage. He's going to be around for a while. Like Shaco almost kind of becomes a Nico-esque frontline for this now, which is really, really interesting. And kind of disturbing, too. Wow. A Nico's and some gold. Take it.
Jeez.
That's a Jin 2.
That's a Jin 2, and he nails it naturally
Oh,
anyways, the
wow.
natty
Finds it.
Jin.
That's a Xerath 2 maybe then.
Yeah, 0-2, entirely usable. I don't think he's gonna be able to get to Shaco 3 now that there's Mega Infiltrators players.
Yeah, I doubt it. Is he going to build another
Another
Runins?
Runons.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, Trap Claw keeps Jin
Sure.
pretty safe, but that's interesting. I don't know if I've seen double Runins on Jin before.
Yeah, this last item, Swordbreaker, definitely is a head scratcher. Like, where should you really put it? I do think that it's wise to keep an item open on Shaco in case you find some kind of life regen item like Bloodthirster or Hextech Gunblade.
Totally, yeah. Look
Wow.
at this. Shaco isn't even dying.
What? Ash, where are you shooting?
Finally died now, yeah. Somebody else is bored. Seen that many times.
Yeah, that used to happen.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
with I think this set's Ash, but other Ashes in the past I think did that.
Oh, it was happening early this set, too. They fixed it
Was
pretty
it?
quick, but yeah, for a while, you'd be, like, fighting in a random Asher would come in and kill your team.
Right.
I lost to one of the neutral rounds because my team got hit by a random Ash arrow early on in the set. It's the worst feeling ever.
Oh, that's so funny. I'm sorry that happened, though. That sounds awful and incredibly
You
infuriating when
know,
that happens to you. But
looking
geez, it's
back,
also hilarious in hindsight.
I can laugh about it now, but at the time, nightmares for days. Just, I never knew when there was an Ash arrow just sneaking up behind me. It was scary. But man, this Jin is going to do a lot of damage to double Runins.
Yeah. It just feels like Souless is in a really powerful spot, and perhaps, Dark Stars taking a big nerf, still very good. Souless is at 83 life. Kiyoon, Becca, Dasik, all below 20, putting them within critical strike distance.
Man,
This could
well,
be early exits for our heroes.
let's jump on board with Becca's perspective to see, and it looks like it's a Chrono Kale build. And on paper, like what I see in front of me on the board looks pretty decent right now, but maybe just took a long time to get online. Could use the MF2 at the moment, but doesn't look bad. Do you think you really need the Thresh in the backline, though, protecting the Ezreal? I feel like I've moved that up a little bit to get an attack quicker. I don't know. What
Yeah,
do you think?
it's tricky. I think he wants it because there are some blitzcranks out there, and just wants to generally make the backline sturdier. And I guess it's okay. In the end, it doesn't seem
Ooh,
super effective. Becca looks like she is out. Oh
yeah,
no.
that's rough. That's an eighth
And
for Becca.
Kiyoon out in 7th with her, dying at the exact same time, but just a millisecond quicker.
I
Now,
didn't check though. I wonder if Kiyoon did go for the mech build. Oh,
wait.
demolitionist charge on the
Demolitionist
carousel.
spat. Milk is going straight for it, right?
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, getting that is so big for your comp. And that's a lucky break for Delicious Milk.
How
Not
does
that
he
he
do it
needed one.
every time?
I don't know. That's now 6 out of 9 games he's had demo spat
Hmm.
on Kaisa.
Interesting. 3 out of the top 4 are Darkstar players. The other top 4 player is a is a mech infiltrator player.
Uh-huh. And he would have to sell his Kaisa too and remake to get the proper items on her. Although what he could do is actually put the demo spat on the other Kaisa, put her on the board, and then finish it, and then the demo spat would stick and 2 other items would go on. I think that's how it works. Or maybe just put it on somebody else in the meantime. Just because you
Well,
want
the
to give your
demo
mech
spat,
demolitionist.
yeah, the demo spat, if it also is like important for the mech's ability because it does
Yeah.
stun people. It's just that on Kaisa, it's so good.
So much damage.
And I think Milk doesn't feel confident enough in his life total to feel like he can afford to remake Kaisa all the way because
Yeah.
he would lose gold on some of the Kaisa and he has to restart. He basically over of finding all the Kaisas. He had 7 right now and he would go down to 4.
So I'm right though, right? Where I believe I read that when you combine a champion that has more than 4 items on it, or more than 3 items on it rather, it prioritizes keeping the items that are being held by the champion that is on the board at the moment. So if you want to switch kind of like that, you can put the one with the item you want to keep on the board and then combine it. And I might be a little bit wrong about the ordering with that, but I believe I read that. I'm
If that does
sure.
work that way, which it sounds right, I think
Yeah.
I understand exactly how you're describing it, which is exactly what lines up with my understanding. If that does end up being the case there, I think there's a chance for him to actually also get the wrong items besides the demolition spat. I think he wants to keep the uh
Well,
the
yeah, he would
frozen
get demo
heart and the
spat and then a
morello.
random other two.
Right.
I would, yeah,
So I wonder if that disincentivizes Milk from doing that.
probably a bit.
Also, coming up onto this Kane finds a hand of justice, which is, I guess, serviceable for Shaco.
Yeah, and if you kind of think about it long term, if he can roll into an echo somehow, I don't know if he's going to have time, but if he can roll into an echo, he can replace the Kazakhs with that, then have demo spat on it, and then get all those stuns he's looking for.
Yeah, looks like a couple of awkward items for other people, like a protector's chest and I think a Zeke's, which is pretty okay. But
Yeah,
Dasik, Kiting, and Rayditz are both very weak and all within one health striking distance.
I mean with Dark Stars, you're certainly not unhappy to see a Zeke's pop up now.
Oh, definitely not.
Yep, Power Up Zareth and Jin, who both do really well off of that. Still trying to find that Shaco 3.
Wow, Milk is so quick on
Ooh,
the roll. It's kind of nutty to just
yeah, it's
watch him
stressing
do
me
it.
out, man.
I know, like I'm like, how do you know if you're not missing anything? And he's done it so many times that he recognizes it instantly.
Yeah,
And a level and put the Valkyrie bonus in. So Milk rolls 50 gold, finds a single Shaco, doesn't find two more Kaises, and he is in an awkward spot going up against Souless, the lobby leader, who is dominating everybody.
yeah, he's got that Zareth 2 now as well with a lot of attack speed, but gets blown up instantly here. It's on
Yeah.
Shaco now, but no. Look at that. Mech Infiltrator still pretty strong build.
Yeah, the mech doesn't really die. Rayditz and Dasik are out, which means we
Ooh.
have our top four. Milk looking to see if he can be one of the only non-Dark Star players to win in this lobby.
On board
And
with
I think
Soju
all
now.
three of them, I think Soulless, Milk, and Kiting all are playing Dark Stars, which they are.
Yeah, I believe you're right. I'm looking for little differences. There is a more kind of robust Dark Star build, I suppose, for Soju in that he's been able to include Mystic and Sorcerer now, and 4 Celestial actually at level 9.
Hmm.
That's pretty huge, actually. Having the
Oh,
healing
yeah.
is quite nice. It's got a ton of healing on that team, actually, between Redemption, things like that. Oh, but just not enough upfront damage, though, and Solus beats him.
Yeah, Solus does look like he is firmly ahead, and Soju commandingly in second. He just has to not play the uh, the lobby leader here. He's got a really strong army. The four
Yeah,
celestial comp surprisingly very effective. I was struggling in a protectors game because I was like playing celestials and I was playing protectors and mystics, and I switched out to celestials, and it was just like I was surprised at how much that 40 healing, that recent buff, really does do wonders for the
right?
celestials.
Oh, man, Delicious Milk starting to hit 3 stars on some of his mech pieces, on his Kaisa. This is getting really scary now. And funny thing, if you look at the results for this tournament for Giant Slayer series, Delicious Milk has only ever finished in the places first, second, third, or eighth. He's
The thing that describes his playstyle pretty well.
exactly, but he's only got like 1/8 though. All the other
Right.
finishes have been first through third, and it looks like he's on track for that again. As
Oof.
he's going to nearly eliminate Soju, taking him very low, but he's got a lot of HP to burn through in a long 1v1 against Solus potentially.
Oh, Thief's Glove as an opportunity for Soju, as well as Runins. Both are
Yeah,
very solid items for Dark Stars. Milk
yeah.
choosing for going for the Thief's Glove. Solus can go for a quick silver, which seems very solid to stop you from getting perhaps Lulu ulted by any chance.
Yeah, it could be. We know that Soju's running the Lulu, so there is that possibility of polymorph out there that people need to think about. There's another Zareth.
Yep, and a
Looking for
Lulu.
one more. Yep, and a Lulu.
I'm thinking of Soju. I'm thinking about if I can 2-star these units.
Yeah.
Another Zareth.
Oh, Zareth. Oh, you gotta sell. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Gets a 2-star Zareth. Maybe you add the Runins on him too? I think you might as well. No, puts on the Ash. Okay. Huh. Interesting. So kind of trying to split the threats he can provide, right? So if one side gets wrecked, the other side can still do damage.
Huh.
But running as far away as he can, zero confidence against his Dark Star opponent here. He's doing okay though. I don't know though. The Shaco getting in there. No, does he have it? He does.
Yeah, Soju runs away just to make sure that if he does lose, that he doesn't die as quick as possible. Instead, he just runs away and stalls just for a brief moment to die after milk. But it looks like Soju is just gonna have a showdown with with
Showdown.
Souless here.
Indeed. It's going to be a Dark Star Showdown. Delicious Milk still keeps his record going of only finishing worse than third if he's going to take eighth. Otherwise, gets 1 through 3. And we'll see if Soju can win this one.
All right, so here we go. What could be the last fight here?
That Zareth is so strong.
And that
Oh my
Jhin is so
gosh.
well protected. That double rooted trap claw
Oh,
just shutting down everything. And that Zareth completely
wow.
annihilating the rest of the army.
That was not close at all.
Yep. And Soul is going to take the first game, going to pick up where you left off last weekend.
All right.
Souless is currently on a hot streak for the ages in set 3 here.
Yeah, I mean, he has found a comp that just really, really jives with the way he likes to play the game. He, I think, adapted pretty perfectly to the change that we saw in the patch today. A lot of us were talking about it before the show began. We're seeing it now, where now he's prioritizing the Jhin and the Zareth instead of the Shaco. But that really interesting adaptation of putting the Shaco up front with the GA and the Ionic Spark, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it, and what Shaco does and how he can be a bit sticky, a bit annoying, and him just dying early buffs all your dark stars right away. So I like it. I really like that adaptation. I wonder if it's something we're going to start to see pretty often.
Yeah, and I think that it's going to be kind of tricky to see how players are going to be fighting for the same thing with Dark
Mhm.
Stars. But I guess the point still stands. You don't need a 3-star or anything in Dark Stars, and they're still very solid, which is ultimately why people feel like this is a good 6 synergy composition. In the past, part of
Yeah.
the criticisms was that if you played a 6 synergy composition like Star Guardians or cybernetics. Well, I guess cybernetics was less like that, but it only had room for one person to play that composition, and Dark Stars is not like that at all.
Yeah, for sure. Too much reliance on 2 stars to really worry about being contested too much. A lot of Dark Star players in the top 4, like we saw just a moment ago. And there is the scoreboard so far. The top 4: Souless, Soju, DeliciousMilk, and KitingIsHard. Kiyoon doing really well last week, takes a 7th, and poor Becca takes an 8th in the first game. But we still have 3 more to do today. And I want to take a moment, of course, to thank Juke.gg for sponsoring the Giant Slayer series. Again, it's that time. It's that time to type !GSS in the chat. Get that link that you will be so happy that you have, because you can go and see all the players' perspectives from it. Look at the schedule, look at the past matches. It's really kind of a one-stop shop for all the Giant Slayer series information that you want. So thanks to Juke for sponsoring the stream and for providing a really cool resource for fans to use. Great.
Yeah, totally. I think that Juked is one of the more useful tools out there for people who love to multi-Twitch and look at what's happening, especially for their
Yep.
favorite events. And it has that schedule, so helps you keep track of what's going on with Giant Slayer series. When we're like, oh, what does Kiyoon have on his bench versus Delicious Milk? You can always just answer that question if you just pull up Juke.
Yep, that's right. And we do that sometimes. Although I didn't do it last game. I should have. I should have looked at Kiyoon's board to see if he really went mech infiltrator or not. Not sure if he did. But if he did, he he didn't really hold hands with Delicious Milk that game. He sort of like high-fived him on his way past down to the bottom of the lobby, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. It seemed like, you know, Kiyoon struggled a lot more in the early game than Milk
Yeah.
did, and perhaps all that pre-game trash talk between Kiyoon and Delicious Milk is going to blow up in Kiyoon's face if Milk continues this kind of performance, and so does Kiyoon.
Yeah, I mean, he was saying things like he thought the lobby was pretty free if Delicious Milk wasn't there, and you know, even with Milk there, like the lobby did not look free for Kiyoon. You'd think a free lobby with one player to worry about, you'd be able to do a little bit better than seventh, but you know, we'll see what happens. He's got a few more games to bring it back.
Yeah. I can go ahead and even just look it up what he played, but he did
Sure.
play that early Shojin, so I don't know
Yeah, we'll
if
see
he ended up playing that.
if he's true to the cause of Mech Infiltrator or if he pivoted like a coward. We'll see.
No, it looked like Kiyoon attempted to also play a Chrono Kale build, but did
Ah,
not
okay.
find Kale 2,
There you go. There's the answer. He pivoted.
alas.
All right then. That's how
It
it's gonna
seemed
be.
like the lobby was split into like 3 factions. It was
Yeah.
the Chrono Kale and the Dark Stars, and then the people that played blends of things in between. So like
Mm.
Dasig played blasters, but also still like borrow a lot of those Chrono stuff. Um, and then Milk played infiltrators, but still borrowed like Shaco and even a Kale himself. So Kale has played a ton in this lobby.
Not a single attempt at Star Guardians in that first game as well. Everybody very concerned about the Syndra nerf. It looks like we've got the second lobby going. Going to start off with the winner of our last lobby, Souless. You can always tell because he's got the K-pop going in the bottom of the screen.
That's right. Souless is definitely one of those K-pop stans.
Yep.
Souless also loves making fun of Soju, uh, almost an obsessive level of how much he likes to
Hmm.
make fun of him. Obviously, it's all in good fun. They're buddies. And so let's gonna start off with the sword, a really powerful item. I think most people love starting off with sword because I think that leads directly into Dark Stars. And we'll see if Souls is able to follow that up with another top finish here.
Yeah, I think you're pretty psyched if you get that Dark Star, or if you get that Sword start and you're planning on playing Dark Stars.
Yep.
Not bad.
No galaxy introduced early here, as far as the eye can see, unless I'm missing something.
No, you're right. Two normal galaxies in a row tonight, and we have not had that since like Monday last week. Two normals in
Yeah.
a row. Yeah.
Yep. Very straightforward lobbies in terms of the galaxy setup. And I think that the last lobby, again, it's the first game. Takes a little bit of time to kind of get the tournament underway with what you want to play, but most people have kind of showed their intent on what they like to do. Some players who like playing that Cybernetics Chrono style are still sticking to it. Some people who
Yep.
are playing Dark Stars sticking to it, and it's paying off for some and not for others. I wonder if anybody's going to start playing some of those other lesser played compositions. One of them was asking in the chat, who played the Star Guardian Sorcerer build last game? And it's like, no one, not me. Did anyone play
Yep.
it? No, I didn't play it. And it turns out
Nobody
no one
even
did.
tried it. Yeah. And I still think, like, despite the nerfs on Syndra, without having played any of the games on the new patch yet today myself, I still suspect that Star Guardians is a strong composition. It's just not overly strong, with Syndra being that like insane damage and mana battery at the same time. Her damage will still be very high, but she just won't be, casting like a machine gun anymore. At least it's going to be harder to get her to that point, I'll say.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because who else do you really have to carry in that composition? And the answer is like sometimes Vel'Koz and six sorcerer versions of it. But outside of Syndra, like I know people have tried like the Ari carry and stuff like that, but Lux can potentially be very good, but nothing matches Syndra's ability to just snipe the backline. So that's definitely gonna hurt that comp.
Totally. And I think that that's probably what scares some people away from playing it, at least
Yeah.
for the first game tonight. Let's see if anybody else continues to explore that possibility. For now, we're going to stay on Souls and see how his early game is shaping up. Seems like he's going up against Soju, who doesn't have a great opening. This is going to be a very one-sided fight. And, I was like thinking about if whether or not Solar should be using some of his item components. When you have like a sword, a pair of gloves, the sparring gloves, and you have the bow, it feels like you can make something, right? Like a lot of people like to make Infinity Edge. Some people like to make Giant Slayer, and try to
Blast
go
Whisper is really
blasters.
popular right
Exactly,
now.
Blast
Yeah.
Whisper. There's like all three of those items are very high commodity if you want to start playing those offensive AD builds.
Yeah, the only reason to really save it would be if you're holding out for possibly a GA with the sword. which is I think pretty vital right now. If you're going to be powering up Jin again, you kind of need to put some sort of defensive item on him, and maybe you do go for that first. But if that's the case, you could still make the last whisper. But then again, maybe you're saving the bow for Runen's Hurricane, which is arguably a better item for Jin. So I think it's just he has a lot of items that use one of those components that he wants to wait and see if he gets out of the carousel or Terra Bursters. But you do feel bad having all that stuff sitting on your bench. And I don't know about you, but when I'm in this situation, I at least like to put a couple items on champs that I'm planning on replacing soon, just have a little bit of extra stats out on the board.
Oh yeah, I totally want to do that, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not going to sell this unit, and then I'm like, wait, I have this unit, I'm going to pivot into this composition. Why did I put this item on this unit that I need later on? I do that all the time.
Yep.
Just the
Maybe it's easier when
struggles.
you force Star Guardians every game and you know for a fact what you're not gonna need, but
Right. The
yeah.
problem was that I pivoted, right? Like I should just
Yeah.
type in the chat, no scout, no
No
pivot.
pivot. Just don't pivot. That's your answer.
Ah, I see.
Easy solve to that problem.
I see.
Yeah. Well, that's the Zaya. Pretty decent little composition to start things off with. Obviously, having two stars helps. Decides to go for Vanguard for a little bit more durability, dropping the chrono. Probably don't need the chrono as much as you need your front line to survive a little bit longer.
Right. I was kind of
I can
thinking
see
about
that.
how we can make gold in this position, and it seems like no matter how we slice it, it's just gonna have to sell everything on the
Yeah.
bench in order to get to it. Of course, if he wins, he gets that extra gold, so he can keep something. Probably the Jarvan. Oh, he already has
Yep.
a Jarvan too, so he probably would sell that as well.
Hey, if he's going protectors, he needs all the Jarvans he can get. Nobody's going
Yes.
protectors though. I don't think we're going to see that tonight.
Oh,
Oh wow! All right, that is rough to lose your win
yeah.
streak like that.
Yeah, and it seems like most people who are like trying to play aggressively are going for those pre-levels. So yeah, I think I've seen it enough where it feels like if you do win early, that's what you're going to be trying to go for every single time, trying to get those quick levels and just sacrifice your gold a little bit.
Makes sense.
Oh
Whoa,
snap!
Soju. All right, Slash Bros incoming apparently. That is brave. It's very brave.
Yeah. Soju is going to be playing the Rebel reroll composition, trying to get Master Yi and Yasuo to 3 stars. And the more I play that comp, the more I feel like it's very fun, and I think it might be legit now. I
Hmm.
think the reason why is because we're still not exactly set on what the build is per se.
Yeah, like what do you go through? What do you use in the early game to powerfully transition into it?
Right. And then also even what does the late game look like? And I think that Salvi, for example, Salvi was playing builds that just itemizes Yi offensively. I think people
Hmm.
might be prioritizing defense units or defensive items a little bit too much on Master Yi. They should be thinking about, can we just make Master Yi a really big carry now that Rapid Fire Cannon, got buffed even further? So if we play Rapid Fire Cannon into his Rage Blade and kind of make it more like a Rise of the Elements Master Yi, part of the Shadow composition, and how he was a big carry in that
Yeah.
comp.
Well, we saw someone try that last night, and it didn't look spectacular with the Rage Blade, or not the Rage Blade, with the RFC Rapid Fire Cannon on Master Yi. But I am wondering if that'll start to come up a little bit more.
Right. And and maybe it's also like other things too, perhaps that we're not even talking about. Is it positioning?
Yep.
Is it the transitions as you mentioned? It could be all those things combined.
Hmm. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on it later. Kiyoon on top of the lobby right now, the only player who has not yet been defeated, has a really strong start with 3 Vanguard, 3 Cybernetic, Seraphs on the Jace. That's got to feel good. If he hits a Darius 3, though, or Darius 2, rather, I wonder if we're going to see that come in and get the Seraphs get moved over. He'd have to find another pirate, but still.
I mean, it makes
Might
it
be
seem
tempting.
like he wants to sell the Darius. If he's not playing it for that pirate gold, I think he's planning on selling it and perhaps transitioning
Yeah.
into Star Guardian Sorcerers. I think that's a very strong possibility here out of Kiyoon.
He's got the Seraphs, and he's got a Nico on his bench that he's not looking to sell. He's got the Dariuses on the left. Usually, like you said, you're right. That indicates he's thinking of selling him, and he does. All right, picks up another Caitlyn. Just
And
have something on the bench. Oh, 2 Syndras. All right, well,
holy
feels like destiny.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's strong because he's got the TF to give him Sorcerer right now as well, which he's going to do. That's a pretty solid looking mid game or late game rather, or no, early game. What year is it? I don't know.
It is the
My
year
brain turned off there.
2020, and this is this is still the early game here
Mhm.
for sure.
I wonder if you run 2 Syndra 2s now with this comp. You can't really fit it in there very well. You'd have to go to level 8. But I wonder if you kind of do the Darkstar thing where you see Darkstar players run 2 Jin 2s. I wonder if you run 2 Syndra 2s while you're looking for that Syndra 3. This is insane!
What?
He finds a Syndra 2 already?
He found one off of the orbs that he picked up from the
Yeah.
Krugs. That is incredible.
I will take 1 Kiyoon's luck, please.
Yeah, Kiyoon was about to type me e-girl in the chat, but he's pinging himself. He's like, pay attention to me. Wow.
Finds
he
the
didn't do
Ari.
anything.
You don't need the poppies. Poppy 3 is a bait.
These guys are so meta. He's pinging himself and say, don't ping me, please.
This is looking pretty strong right now. The next step is to get up to 4 Sorcerer. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be lacking damage with this. So this board will still get run over by someone who maybe finds like an early Jin or early Aurelia, early Kale. But when he hits 4 Sork eventually, he's gonna be in good shape. Because yeah, there goes half his damage.
Plenty strong to me, but perhaps I might be mistaken. But I think that Zerot portal also might be also very powerful. Just stall for long enough.
The Zerot portal helps.
That redemption is so sick.
Even without the redemption heal, I think Disa could probably had enough to win that one. And yeah, from like my 100+ Star Guardian games, you're usually not going to win a lot in the mid game with a strong front line and only 2 Sorcerer, usually 4 Sorcerer. I found has better results in round 3.
Well, I mean, the results kind of back that up. It seemed like Kiyoon hit a big power spike and yet still lost to someone else who also has a crazy power spike. Giant Slayer red buff on Lucian at 2 stars is very powerful.
If he had a Nico 2, things might be different. But that Nico is honestly not doing a whole lot for him right now. I might swap that out, actually.
That's something to think about, like whether or not Nico is even worth playing. Then again, he doesn't have that many better alternatives. He wants to prioritize hitting 50 gold. So I guess we're just kind of chilling for a bit.
Nico provides an AoE stun, at least as you can see right here, which is nice. Softens things up for Syndra to take them out. But she casts so slowly, even with the Star Guardian buff, that it is tough to get more than one cast. Looks like he might actually do it. Interesting. It is a strong board, but you're not going to be able to win streak, I don't think, with this.
Wow, that's very surprising to hear. I feel like this is a recipe for Kiyoon to start win streaking as long as he's able to, kind of like what you were saying, hit that 4 sorcerers, which he totally can. If he just even replaces Leona and Nico, right? He could just find that sorcerer. He's just gonna go ahead and hit the 6, and now can just maybe find a way to replace Leona.
The tricky part is he doesn't have a Zoe yet. Like ideally, what you'd have is you take out Poppy, and then you would go Zoe, Syndra, Ari for your and one more TF for your sorcerers, and then you just have like Leona with the Zerot portal in there, and then 4 Sork. Keep Poppy on the bench for a little while.
Right. And you did see that earlier. Kiyoon also passed up picking up just that Annie for the 4 sorcerer, but yeah, I've seen what you mean. Does seem like this Malphite is just trying to slap people to death with this Bramble Vest. Milk very clearly setting up for a mech infiltrator.
He can do it.
Wow. Everything's
Malphite might as well be a mech.
Graves with the juke running outside the range of Nico.
Oh man, can the Zerot minion and Poppy do it? They can.
Damn.
Zerot minion is solid, dude. Like that is such a strong item now. People have realized what a strong item it is.
Right. All right, we're going to switch perspectives with kiting. KitingIsHard with the 4 Vanguard setup. 4 Vanguard very popular as a bridge to Dark Stars or in his case, he has that early Kale still open to both. You can see on the left side, he has a Dark Star possibility. On the right, still leaning more towards that Kale or Cybernetics start.
Hmm.
And it's almost like a choose your own adventure here for kiting. Like, how do you want to top four?
He's got to get started either way. Oh, there's a Aurelia as well.
Oh wow, never mind. He has the Runins and the GA already. So it seems like he is in a
Yeah,
really good position if he'd like to start transition to Dark Stars.
it's definitely looking Dark Star. That one, I mean, the Negatron cloak on Jin is a little bit annoying, but
Yeah.
you
You
can,
you could turn to a Trap Claw. You can
yeah,
go double Runins. It's not the worst thing in the world. And also, in the absolute last case scenario, you can also just put Bloodthirster on him. That was actually one of the first builds that people were playing on Jin, which was like
mm,
just Bloodthirster because he would sustain himself. Then people realized you can just add Celestial and Jin with his insane damage, and that small percentage heal is enough to like full heal himself when he gets the fourth shot off.
yeah, pretty much. If you're doing like 14,000 damage to one person, that'll still heal you for like 1,000,
Right.
right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
pretty good. Delicious Milk takes a big shot, and he's going to be looking for those mech pieces pretty soon. Kiting is hard. Is a very strong board right now. There's the Ash. Okay, so there's the other sniper. So I feel like you're getting really close now to swapping things around and going for a bit of a snipers focused build, Darkstar focused board. But that Kale 1, even though it is just Kale 1, is pretty strong with those items in that front line.
Yeah, and KO1 again looks like a bridge for that Dark Star. He's been holding
Of
Dark
course.
Stars. He's been selling on the right side of his bench, and yes, they're all 1-star units. But if he was 2-starring his units, um, then he would lose that gold. And also, it's worth noting that he's won the past few rounds, and he doesn't play a single 2-star unit. Just
Yeah.
goes to show you the raw power of the synergy and the 1-star KO with items.
Yep. Tons of extra armor on your 1-star vanguards. And like we're seeing, that Kale just absolutely eviscerates people.
Jeez.
Wow. And Becca taking some damage. Down at 45, unfortunately, last place in the lobby at the moment. Soju
Oof.
close behind, though, at 47.
Oh, another Jin. You
Yep, that's
know,
very close.
if he finds more Jin items right now, he might be able to pop that Negatron cloak off of that Jin on the bench if he preloads the Jin items onto the board preemptively.
Yeah,
So if
very
he
true.
takes the naked Jin, puts Runin's Last Whisper and a Trap Claw, for example.
Please
Um,
don't say naked Jin ever again.
oh, if you strip naked, if you strip Jin down to just
If you take all of his clothes off.
yes,
Oh,
including
hey,
his
there's another Runins. All
wow.
right. Well, there
How
you
many
go.
Runins is too many Runins?
I mean, a hurricane requires a lot of force, so maybe the more the merrier. Oh, there's a Darius too, but there's a Jin
Yeah.
too, probably a little bit better
Yes.
overall.
Immediately hovering over that GA, and you can make
Might
that
as well.
second Runins.
All
Sure.
right. Well, like you said, he could have saved it for a Quicksilver Sash, but opting to just go for double Runins. Second
Yeah.
time tonight, we've seen double Runins Jin.
Yep. And I think that's totally viable, right? Like
Mm,
ideally, yes, you would give Jin things like Last Whisper to help just penetrate through that front line, especially if you're going to be going up against really like strong solo tanks in the front.
yep.
Infinity Edge is also a great option, but just having more Runins is good because Jin honestly just puts out ungodly amounts of damage. So
Yeah.
you really just like he's one of the few people who I feel like Runins is core on compared to some other carries, which it feels optional.
So I wonder if he's gonna put that Morello's on either Mordekaiser or putting it on Lux. All right, got it. Never mind. We don't need to wonder anymore. We're gonna go over to check out Soju, who is currently second to bottom in the lobby. He declared early on he was going for Slash Bros. He's got that more offensive oriented Master Yi, like you mentioned, but doesn't seem like he's been winning a whole lot of rounds. I guess he does have a little win streak going now.
Right, and he doesn't have the 3-star units, which is ultimately how you hit that power spike with it.
Pretty far away from that too.
Yeah, and I also do think that rapid fire cannon does seem kind of important for the Yi, just so he can immediately just keep putting out the damage.
He's
But I mean,
attacking
he's looking
so
at him doing
fast.
work right now.
Wow. All right. Hey,
There
he's put
you
together a bit of win streak. That's called stabilizing, I suppose.
go. The third item to consider, and I first wasn't sure if I liked it or not, but Death Cap on Master E is also one of the best items. And I wasn't really thinking about it just because I was like, he's dealing melee damage. Like, do I want to actually put like AP items on him? And it turns out it
Hmm.
gives him so much extra attack power based off his ability and healing that just makes it so scary to deal with.
Yeah.
So by all means, I think Yi with a death gap is very good. It took a little bit of time for me to warm up to the concept, but when I saw it in practice like 2 times, I was like, wow, this is great.
Definitely
When I
gives
say
her.
great though, it's still like, is it better than playing some of the best comps in the game like Dark Stars or
that's
Star Guardians?
that's the question. You'd start to sort of overvalue playing something uncontested than playing something that's actually good, you know? And
Right.
I still think the jury is like way out on this comp actually being good, you know? I know it wins lobbies, but I feel like I'm just not seeing any consistency from it. And I mean, check this out. He might lose
Oh,
this one, maybe
oh,
Yasuo versus
Lucian.
Lucian.
Yeah, just had a little bit of trouble of closing out the battle, which honestly, again, I feel like that's what the composition does struggle with sometimes, like those late game or late battle scenarios where you're trying to finish off 1 or 2 units.
Yeah,
Seems like Soju trying to see what else he can pull off here. He needs to get these units to 3 stars. He picked up this thresh with the glove. I think Thief's gloves also is conveniently very good in this composition. He
mhm,
also can just start to build items for Yasuo if he wants to get Yasuo to snipe the carries in the back.
right. The Yasuo is run a lot like Set 2 Yasuo, where you give him a GA, you give him some offensive items, and you let him just kind of go wild in the back line. But Master Yi is the sustain carry, I guess you could say. It's another Yasuo. Okay. So he's
Okay.
starting to get pretty close to finding some of those 3 stars. 3 star Blitzcrank would be pretty sick too,
Ah,
and
yeah.
generally has been part of this build.
Yeah, and Soju's playing just a straight up Thresh. Thresh is usually like the final unit when you go to like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
That is a little surprising seeing them playing it, but he does have so many blitzcranks on the bench, and I think maybe he just wants to start massing, as in
Yeah.
like he just wants to get board presence as best as he can.
Try to make sure Thresh pulls something valuable in. Brings in a Shen, so that's another little bit of sustain, I suppose, if he gets the ult off.
Okay, Master G kind of going in.
Yeah, getting taken out. Sony Heal comes in a little bit late.
But Lucian is
And
just so nutty.
yeah, Lucian doing a lot of damage. Has that GA as well, which makes him even stronger. Yasuo can't make him pay. And so, yeah, Soju in the real danger zone now, down to about 35 HP.
Okay, Yasuo. I think
You got to roll
Soju should
down,
consider
right?
rolling a little bit more. Yes.
You would think so, right?
He still
Sells
has
the
room to roll like
Thresh.
a few more times. Finds another blitzcrank. You want to get to blitz 3. Hmm. And I think Soju's like, I really just don't want to lose this hard like again, but he might not have a choice. I think he has to just wait 1 more round, see what items he gets, and then
Yeah.
roll all the way down, try to 3 star everything.
Yep.
Very
And
unfortunate here for Soju.
well, he does hit the Star Guardian player. That Nico does have a GA now, which is annoying. Let's see what the Syndra can do. Hits Sona does basically 0 damage to start things off with. But the rest of that Star Guardian
Oof.
damage is definitely pretty potent. Oh, there goes the Syndra, though.
Yeah, but he's
But
out of
it's a little bit too
damage.
late. Yeah. Just the
you know,
Mystics remaining.
I'm struggling. I'm trying to stay on this hype train for the Yasuo and the Mastery, the Rebel reroll comps.
uh-huh.
It's just not really cutting it.
Yeah,
And
I,
now
I gotta agree.
I go back to how Souless says, "Why are you so free?" And I feel like Soju, when he's playing these compositions and he's struggling a lot, makes me feel like it does feel like this composition is kind of free to play against. Doesn't
It
seem to be beating anything.
I'm starting to develop a very strong opinion that unless you hit your 3 stars very early, you're gonna just get rolled in rounds 3 and 4, it seems like, and then just not have enough
Okay,
HP to finish the game.
yeah, that could be the case. He does find an Infinity Edge that could be good for Yasuo to snipe some units. Finds a spatula, so you can turn something to a Blade Master.
Yeah.
That's spicy. Here we go. The roll down. Looking for Blitzcrank 3, Master E3, finds a Shen.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
he's got to
EW
sell the Sona
Sona.
too. Ah, finds another Master
Oh,
E.
give up
What do you
on the
do?
Shen.
What's the more important thing? Master E is definitely one of the most important units here.
Yeah, I feel like Blitz and the Slash Bros are the more important ones. There's a Blitz 3 that's big.
Shen. Another
Shen. Oh,
Shen.
he missed
Oh,
Shen.
finds a Master E3. Did it combine in time? It did not.
Oh no. He also missed a Shen, which just hurts real bad too.
Yeah.
He
And
tried to grab it and it just didn't go for some reason.
easier to say from a person that's not
Yeah.
under the gun here, but wow, that Master E3 would make such a big difference.
Might have won him the round. That's tough. And I mean, he did try to grab that Shen, and sometimes when you grab a unit like that, it just for some reason doesn't go. If you're rolling quickly, you can pass it accidentally. I've done that a million times.
Right.
Yeah.
Shen.
Going through Con 2 is another Shen. He's still close.
Yeah, he's holding on to it just so you can thin the pool a little bit, but now
Yep.
Soju's down to
Yasuo.
his effective last life here. I don't think he can roll again here because even if he gets, you can't buy it. It's not worth the
Yeah.
lock.
He may be on his last life, though. I mean, I think at this point at 5-2, he should be able to survive with 16 HP, but going up against DeliciousMilk, who has a pretty potent mech, he's got the demo spat again on Kaisa. Just always has it. That mech attack doesn't do a whole lot of damage, though. Blitz 3 reaches out and touches someone to death.
I don't feel like Milk has a lot of damage. His mech seems to be doing the most damage, and Milk might be on also a fast track to 8th place.
Could
This
be.
lobby in general is actually pretty low HP, outside of Dasik, who's at 69. Yasuo 3. Oh, and how painful is it that Soju knows that he could have Shen 3 as well, but because he rolled past it.
Yep. Well, see, that's where you just tell yourself that one of the Shens you bought later is the Shen you saw earlier. So you wouldn't have, wouldn't have made a difference anyway.
Yeah,
if you would have bought that one, you wouldn't have seen the other one. Those are the mental tricks to keep you in the game.
Yep. No,
so,
totally.
I'm really surprised he's not doing a little bit more Blitzcrank scouting because Blitzcrank 3 can just delete people so well. Like, watch what it does with his Ashe. It's going to be hilarious. Boop. 0 health.
Master Yi's taking a little bit too much time walking around trying to find targets to attack,
yes,
but so much power. And when he finally starts attacking, he's deleting everything. Soulless takes a pretty significant amount of damage now, and this lobby is starting to really get super tight.
It's so funny because I feel like this is starting to look a little bit similar to the game Crone and I cast on Saturday, where Revan ended up going down to 11 HP before getting the 3-star Yi and Yasuo. Then he came back and won the lobby. So when you do get the 3 stars online with those items, the comp gets an enormous power spike. So he could be in for a bit of a win streak now. We'll see.
I hope so. The only person on a win streak is Becca, but she's at 35 life, and that's not exactly the safest amount of HP. But then again, when you compare it to everybody else, it's a fairly dense lobby.
Yeah.
Milk, Souless, and Soju all within a certain strata, and then you have Kiyoon, Kiting, Becca, and Rayditz all within 10 hit points.
This is a pretty surprisingly low health lobby across the board for 5-5 and 7 out of the 8 players in the 30s or lower is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
I like the Frozen Heart on Shen. That is something.
Yeah, that carousel was very interesting. By it was like 2 Giant Slayers, 2 Frozen Hearts.
Oh yeah. Didn't even talk about it.
It was like great support, like secondary items, I guess. Giant Slayer is probably one of the best items, of course, and one of the best organizations out there.
No coincidence. Yeah.
Yeah. What a weird coincidence. Oh no, a Xerath with 2 Rage Blades and a Guardian Angel though from Rayditz. That looks so scary to deal with. Whose double Rage Blade build is better?
Well, I mean, now we know why this guy hasn't lost for a long time, but man,
what?
He just grinds through the rest of the team.
The Yasuo jumping onto the Xerath, almost immediately killing it. That was massive. I feel like he got 3 crits off of that.
I mean, Xerath is extremely fragile, probably some of the lowest HP among 5 costs in the game, and it can come back to bite you.
Where did Milk go? Delicious Milk.
Keeping up with the trend. He either gets first, second, third, or 8th.
That's right. What is fourth place? Milk doesn't know.
It's tradition. Yeah, that's right. It's and yeah, Kiyoon not going for mech again, so Delicious Milk kind of holding his own hand down to eighth that game.
Yeah, so weird, right? Mega Infiltrator did so fine, did pretty well and looked fine
Yeah,
all the way
even
in the first
uncontested,
game.
right?
Yeah. And now, can we see Master E continue to do work? Here we go. More slashing. The Jinx,
MF did
there's the
not hit a lot of
dance.
people.
Oh
Oh
my
boy.
goodness, is he doing it?
He's doing it. He's doing it. Desic takes a big shot as well. And Soju on a 4-game win streak right now.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Him and Becca are the two lobby leaders in terms of their recent win streak. Rayditz, who looked like the most healthy person in the lobby, now is in danger of dropping out in 7th with his 0-2 with 2 Rage Blades. I don't even understand how to evaluate power levels right now.
Now, Becca, who we're about to jump into or jump on board with a moment, uh, does have the 6 cybernetic build up and running and a really powerful Echo too. And she's found a Lulu too as well. So that's your little explanation for why Becca's crushing it right now. Her board is awesome.
Oh yeah, that looks real good. The Swordbreaker probably doesn't really help directly Soju, but I'm sure you could just slap that onto
Yeah.
Shen or Blitzcrank and it'll be totally fine.
Yeah, probably put it on the Shen. Why not? He's got 2 Shens in again. WTF, 2 Shens. There we go. Becca
Woof.
finds a
Becca's
larger cone for
force of
MF.
nature.
Yeah, she's got a force of nature and she's level 9. So 10 champions in there right now. And she's got great items as well. I mean, look at that Echo. He's got the mana for more casting. He's got the red buff to apply on everyone he hits. She's got a 2-star Lulu. Like, Becca's been hitting everything this game.
Yeah, that force of nature also just helps her extend her synergies to have higher impact on the game. But you know, that double Infinity Edge Irelia is already scary enough. Trying to see if he can contest the Kiyoon with his 3-star Syndra
and 3-star Nico.
Oh, that's big
Check
damage.
that out. Huh.
And Becca was the lobby leader, but now she's almost out. Tarkov and Rayditz, or Tarkov. Kiting and Rayditz are both eliminated.
His new name is Tarkov. But yeah, that's gotta feel bad. But I mean, that was a Nico 3 with like Jeweled Gauntlet and GA. So it's gonna be 2 gigantic bursts of damage from the front line that you're just gonna walk all over with this comp. The Syndra as well, Syndra 3. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. If it's uncontested, I've still got a feeling Star Guardians is gonna be pretty legit. At least against something like this. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of always been what people have believed about the composition. That if you're uncontested, you get like a first place.
Yeah.
Kiyoon could be one of the players exemplifying that. She's going up against Soju's clone, and this is the top composition over the past few fights. Can she survive? She does.
I think she can. Yeah, I think the red buff on Echo helped a lot in terms of denying some of that healing, but also just doing some of that big damage to everybody. And so Becca does secure a top 4 with Soulless going out in 5th.
Okay, so now that everybody is within 10 hit points to 16, that means they all effectively are 1 fight away from dying, but they can survive. It's a very close fight. If it's a very, very close fight, like 1 or 2 units survive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so close. And if I'm in this lobby right now, I just don't want to play Soju. It feels like Soju's destroyed everybody. He's hit everything he needed at the last second.
I mean, the only person that's
stabilized.
I mean, Becca beat his clone, but that was it, right? There's
Desic.
Jinx 3 and a Cho'Gath 3 as well.
What?
Cho'Gath 3 is not going to get to ult, but he's there and he's scary. Big MF ult.
Oh my god.
That's enough.
Becca's dead.
Eliminated at 3rd place or 4th place rather. It is a top 4. That's a rough end to what would look like a very, very strong comp for a while. Kiyoon barely survives a loss against Soju.
Wow. Can this carousel change anything? There's a Trap Claw.
No, wait, what is it?
Yep.
There is a Zero Portal. Both are very useful in these late game scenarios. They take immediately beelines for the Trap Claw. Kiyoon looking for that Zero Portal. What can Soju pick up? I guess Hextech Gunblade? Perhaps finish off his spatula that he's had for a while. Maybe could just make another Blade Master out of somebody. And I think that's what he's doing. He's grabbing that sword to potentially convert somebody else into a Blade Master.
Why not? Meanwhile,
Second
Zizrot
Hero
portal.
portal.
It's gonna be 2 Zizrot portals. Put it on. I guess you put it on Ash here because you get the biggest portal minion out of it. Could put it on Poppy just to be even more annoying and have 2k HP minions come out, because that would probably be earlier. And I think,
Yeah.
you probably want that in the front line. Yeah, so you give up 1,000 HP on the Zizrot minion, but you do make sure it pops earlier and stays in the front. I like this
Very
positioning.
much so.
It's got the Lulu in there as well.
Oh, the battle for second place. Whoever loses this is out, guaranteed.
That's right. Does the Cho'Gath ult? It does. Oh man, and that Cho'Gath ult just insta-gibbed the board basically.
Yeah, you can't clump versus a Cho'Gath 3, can you?
Nope, no, you definitely
Soju
can't.
lost at the clone.
Oh, and that means it's over.
Game is over.
Kiyoon.
Wow, Kiyoon.
Did he wait?
Did not. You watched it just in time, but looks like Dasic got the win. The
Dasic got the win.
3 and the Cho 3, right? Wow,
that's so
nutty.
funny. I have to just double check. It's Soju actually got the win.
Did Soju get the win?
Soju got the win. Yeah, I was just looking at the board on Kiyoon's stream, the post game match board, and it had Soju at number 1.
Oh, when people lose Soju die. Was I mistaken?
I don't know. Like maybe it was some weird thing where everybody died at once because of ghosts and various things, but I would have to go back and rewatch it. Either way,
I thought Soju died. I'm pretty sure I saw Soju running away from the blast, and then
well, that's why I was confused, because right away I clicked on somebody's stream to like see the post-match board, and it had Soju at number 1. So
the chat is indeed confirming that Dasic did get the win.
Did he?
Rightfully
what was up with that board then?
You can get Jinx and Cho'Gath the 3-star, and you still don't win. It's like, what else do you really want Brawler Blasters to do? You know, getting 2 tier 4 units to 3 stars is quite an undertaking. It feels like at the very least get a first, please.
That is true. I wish I had a screenshot of that, because it was definitely showing Soju number 1. Which is very confusing.
Jeez, it's imagine not winning despite all that. Just because I mean, Soju did have a lot of 3-stars as well. He had Blitzcrank, Shen, Yasuo, and Master Yi. That's a lot of re-rolling. But you know what? Soju with back-to-back second places is going to be leading our lobby, and perhaps at the end of the night, if this trend continues, Souless will have to take back some of the words that he's been throwing towards Soju's way, including on the interview, the winning interview last week, where Souless kind of called out Soju directly.
Definitely starting to seem that way. You can see the lobby results for tonight so far. Soju, like we just talked about, in number 1 with 16 points. Souless right behind him. Dasic getting a lot for game number 2, obviously, with his apparent first place finish, jumping up to 13. But still a lot of room in like 4th through 8th right now for people to move around and get a few more points. Becca getting 4th, 6 points, keeping her in the running as well.
Yeah. So overall, pretty tight within the middle parts of this lobby pack. Kiting, Kiyoon, Milk, Becca, Rayditz, that can all change in the next couple games. But yes, a little bit surprising to see a reversal of the standings of what we used to. Milk, Rayditz have been kind of doing really well in a lot of their lobbies, or rather the past couple of nights that we've seen them. So we'll see if they can turn it around. Perhaps Milk forcing the Mech Infiltrator uncontested, getting 8th place. Is that a sign of things to come? Or perhaps Milk low rolled? I'm not sure.
I wonder. That is a really interesting thing, that he was that he played Mech Infiltrator twice, right, and got pretty rough results both times, and was uncontested as well. So I wonder. We'll have to think about it. Quick break, and when we come back, games 3 and 4 don't go anywhere, guys. Giant Slayer series will be right back at you after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the Giant Slayer series. And a big thank to Juked for sponsoring our tournament right now! Exclamation point GSS in chat will take you to the juked.gg landing page for the tournament, where you can find the perspectives of all the players, watch whoever you want to watch, and have a lot of fun doing that. And that, Dan, is how I figured out why I saw Soju as number 1 in that game, but he was actually not. Because what happened was Kiyoon left the game as soon as he died, and for a split second, because he left the game slightly before it ended, he left when Soju was still number 1, and so it still showed him that despite the game being over with a different result. So that's what it was, apparently. Figured it out. You gonna say
Sorry
anything?
about that. I don't know. I just got tangled up a little bit.
I was like,
my mic positioning about as good as my unit positioning in TFT. Yeah, I think that's something that is a very interesting, unique thing about it. It's like, because of the way the data is processed, whenever you die or exit the game, it'll just memorize the standings and output that accordingly.
right.
But Soju did end in second. Dasik takes the win with the Brawler Blasters after getting Jinx and Cho'Gath to 3 stars. And, well, we'll see if Soju can keep up that momentum going into Lobby 3.
Yep, that's right. So 2 more lobbies to go tonight. You can see our standings overall. Soju on top of the lobby right now with 2 second-place finishes. So let's get a win. Get a little bit less than a win in game number 2. But the big shock of the night possibly is DeliciousMilk having a pretty good game with Mech in round number 1. But round 2, getting that 8th place, which, again, either gets first, second, third, or 8th. There's nothing in between 4 through 7. No, DeliciousMilk does not finish that way in Giant Slayer series.
No, I don't think he's going to. This will not be the last time we've seen Milk go for first or bomb out in 8th.
Yeah.
And he also has a lot of points to back it up. So I believe Milk is almost guaranteed. I have to actually look at the mathematics of where we cut off for points. But Milk was leading all the point standings going into the week before 10.8 games actually started. And now that he is kind of like getting only a few points because he got 8th place. Even if he gets 8th a couple more times, I still think he's in the top 8 right now. So I think he's in a pretty good spot. He's probably gotten enough first place with Mech Infiltrator to back up some high risk, high reward strategies.
Well, he certainly proved that he at least can get a lot more 1 through 3s than 8s with Mech Infiltrator up to this point. We'll see how the rest of the night goes. But we have seen him have very high highs and very low lows in his lobby as well. So I'm curious whether or not he'll be able to keep it up, keep the good stuff up anyway. Otherwise, or if we'll have more low results. So yeah, just waiting for the next lobby to start right now. And I wonder if we're going to see more Star Guardians. I feel like that last lobby with Kiyoon playing it and placing pretty highly, getting 3rd, kind of proves that the comp is still there. It's still strong. Maybe you need to be totally uncontested now for it to really work, but it's still an option at least to go.
Yes, totally. So let's find out and see, if Souless can keep up the momentum, if Soju can follow up his string of second places with perhaps even more points. And remember that we're playing for more than just the lobby finishes for tonight. For a lot of these players, this is their last chance to put points in to make the finals. So Soju's had some very poor results in a couple of games that he's played, and he needs to just play more than just like, well, I want to get top 4 so I can finish like in the top X for tonight. I think he needs to get as many points as he can.
Yeah. Right now, Soju, I believe, at 50 points, if all of our standings are updated correctly. So that is on the higher side, but he needs to keep it up. Like you said, he needs to continue to finish strong these last couple games. As we go into our next lobby here, I don't believe I saw anything special with the Galaxies, but I didn't quite get a look at the carousel. Do you notice anything?
The carousel had like 4 rods on it. It was one of those. It was one of those half galaxies, and I didn't notice any specific icon in the center, so I think it's a normal galaxy again, which is fun because we've we've seen nights where it's like all 4 games were on 4 different galaxies, and now we're having like games not have any galaxies, so we have some pretty wild swings in terms of what the range of possibilities can be. But
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Galaxies. We had a long form discussion with Kurum about Galaxies on our most recent Giant Slayers not just Giant Slayer series, but Teamfight talk show on Giant Slayer TV, along with Travis Gafford. And I highly encourage you to go back and listen to it because Kurum has some thoughts on it. We debated a little bit back and
Yeah, it was a
forth,
really
and
interesting conversation.
ultimately, I think we settled on how much we like Galaxies, but sometimes the low rolls can feel really bad. So as long as we can just make sure to try to minimize it, because I think in games of variant, you're always going to have those bad moments. But as long
Mhm.
as you just don't let them have them too often or have them too overbearing.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with half my games being galaxies right now, which seems to be kind of the breakdown. Wow, GA option already for a DSIC could also build an
Yeah.
Infinity Edge. So a couple little things to think about with that.
I still think that specifically this three item combination with bow is one of the most interesting and how players choose to go about it because
Mhm.
you could totally talk me into Infinity Edge and keep the vest for a red buff. You can also just like make GA and make the glove something else, or you could also somewhat convince me that you're still not supposed to make anything directly until you see what your second carousel item is. I'm less in favor of that because I do believe that with the changes to player damage, it feels like you need to be more aggressive onto the board, not more conservative.
Yeah, totally agree.
Um, that being said, when you look at this combination, it looks pretty good to slam something. Infinity Edge or Guardian Angel is my first vote.
I think it's really hard to go wrong with building a guardian angel early. It's always going to benefit you. It's always going to be useful in pretty much any composition. I can't think of a comp that doesn't benefit from having at least one GA in it. And yeah, like you said, the way the damage has changed, you really want to try to preserve HP as much as possible here.
Mhm. Well, I
But
mean,
no items
Dasik
yet.
is going for more of an stay open strategy. And like I said,
Yeah.
I've been talked into it a couple times because he doesn't have any direction right now. He has a Mordekaiser and he has a Jarvan. So if he somehow spikes a Shaco when he hits level 4, maybe that'll be the case. Nope, he immediately sells a Jarvan.
Hmm.
So Dasik is still completely wide open. And another thing too about staying open is if you do manage to responsibly take a losing streak without losing too much HP, you can also just kind of scout what people are doing and take the open lane. You can
Yeah, for
see
sure.
like that's pretty much what Dasik did the previous games. He was playing Brawler Blasters pretty much uncontested, although I guess some units do overlap with other compositions.
So he's got potentially a nice cybernetics opening if he can find a third cybernetics, because he's got 2-star Leona, 2-star Fiora right now, but still missing that Lucian or something like that to really make it all come together,
Yeah.
which is a bit rough.
And I'm
But
curious if Dasik will do the strategy that we've been seeing people go for, which is to um, pre-level to try to see if he can keep his options open, or if he's just going to favor going to 10 gold. And I think it really does come down to what the player's philosophy is, and also the state of the game. They kind of
mhm.
analyze if they're win streaking or lose streaking.
I suppose if you pre-level here, it gives you slightly better chance to find your third cybernetic, so it might not be a bad idea. He does end up losing that round.
Hmm.
What's it going to be?
Yeah, so in this
Ah, there it
spot,
is.
it feels a lot worse to pre-level.
Yeah,
Because
he
he didn't get
finds.
the wins early, and I think he'd rather just hold on to stuff.
I mean, at least he found a Jace that'll beef up the front line a little bit, getting 2 Vanguard, 2 Space Pirate in there, and with the Jace, especially a good chance of getting some gold.
Yeah, and he has a Mordekaiser, so that's the third Vanguard, and I believe Poppy is number 4. So looks like he will have the 4 Vanguard start.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. All right. So yeah, he does have the Vanguard start, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
or will have it soon anyway. Going up against KitingIsHard
Oh.
here, and it's looking a little bit rough. No gold from the Space Pirates yet, unless we
Yeah.
have a Jace slam on the Leona. But oh, he
Much
does get
better.
one. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that feels a
Oh.
lot better to get 1 gold
Yeah, I like
than 0
seeing the
gold.
gold pop out, and it's always sad when your own units kill steal. Another stage 2 for full item carousel. Now we did talk
What?
about how there's a lack of galaxies, but there's still been curveballs. There
Yeah,
hasn't
for
been the
sure.
surprises that or rather there has been surprises each game that's really kind of thrown us off here.
Oh, Kiting is
And
hard goes right for the redemption.
yeah, if you're Dasig and you've stayed open, you see this Giant Slayer. I think Dasig's
Yeah.
like, I understand this build. I clearly know that people aren't trying to contest it. People are going to try going for Dark Stars. Some people try to go for Cybernetics and KO compositions. Giant Slayer seems to be a really good option here for Dasig.
Oh, yeah. Totally agree. We're going to move over to Raditz's view in just a moment. There we go. And Rayditz doing a little bit of scouting here. See what everybody else is using. He himself has a Chrono Brawler start, double Malphite, and I got the TF in there with a lot of items. And these are items that can end up being a couple different things here. But when you see the Rage Blade, you're kind of always thinking Kale a little bit, aren't you?
Definitely. The Rage Blade and the Morel Nomicon does make me heavily believe that Raditz is leaning towards a KO composition.
Mm,
And it does also line up with his MO. It feels like that's the build that Raditz likes to do, and he hasn't had success with it today. And he maybe that's partly just him due for perhaps a performance where he's not able to spike the things that he needs.
mm.
But he also should consider selling something for Duel. Okay,
I was
great.
going to say, yeah, stop writing, sell something.
I mean, I like where his head's at, right? Raditz is playing a very consistent game plan. I
Mm,
like to call it set play because it kind of just re-racks and just overall has a decision tree based off of series of decisions. So it does probably get confusing when you use the word set and you're talking about things like TFT. But
sure.
overall, like Raditz is very consistent with his game plan and likes to execute within a certain range of possibilities. And I think it's kind of unfair to call him a one trick too, because it seems like he's very dynamic with playing cybernetics and KO compositions, which are two of the more fluid comps that you can
Yeah, I
play
was
right
gonna
now in the
say
set.
I don't know if you can really be a one trick and play cybernetics and kale comps because you just have to be ready to adapt a lot depending on what the game shows you.
Yeah.
Gonna go ahead and put TF right in the front, so maybe looking to secure a loss this round, secure the streak into Terror Bursters, and it looks
Oh
like
yeah,
he's gonna be successful at that.
very good move. Wants to at least secure all the gold, and I don't think he was trying to lose based off the way he was slamming his items. It seems like Raditz, unfortunately, one did not find a Twisted Fate at 2-star. Oh,
There we
he
go.
found it now,
I think he
which
didn't want to lose it
conveniently.
initially, but he's kind of like, well, he might as well finish out the streak at this point.
Yeah, that conveniently makes it so that he probably doesn't have to level here. This
Yeah,
is still a reasonably powerful board against the Terror Bursters that he might not need to commit to go to 5.
I agree
I
with
like
the
that.
TF2. He should be able to slay the Terror Bursters. We'll see. Although I always get nervous when Blitzcrank pulls that other one in right at the beginning and starts attacking it.
Yeah,
It's not quite the focus you're looking for.
definitely.
Shouldn't have too much of a problem with this. And he finds a Cassidon. Okay.
Ah, that's great. Now
Hmm.
you can actually have the gold to buy this Vi and not have bad feelings about it. But at the same time, Kassadin and um, Zaya are both very good Celestial units to play as a pair. In fact, uh, with that second Rage Blade opportunity, it makes me really curious to see if he wants to slam that item as well. But he does have Twisted Fate with that extra Negatron cloak.
Right, right. He's got a couple different options here. Like you said, he could go for the Celestial, opting for 4 Chrono instead, just to try to power things up as much as he can. Gets a second Rage Blade on the Caitlyn this time. All right. So definitely has a good amount of damage here.
Hmm.
Blitzcrank being disruptive, of course. Lux gets a
Yeah.
stun off anyway, but his front line is so tanky with that Shen.
Yeah, and the four corner really does kick in, especially when you have
Ooh.
two Rage Blades. It is Dunk City with Becca. That's one happy Doa.
That's right. I love seeing the Darius get dunking, man. She's got the death cap and the tier on Darius. That's a strong early game. And there are rumblings, Frodan. There are rumblings in the echelons, the upper echelons of TFT. Can Space Pirates work? Can Darius work? We're seeing builds pop up on the competitive subreddit. People are talking about it more. They keep buffing Darius. It seems inevitable that Space Pirates will be a thing at some point.
Yeah,
We'll see. We'll see.
For people who don't know, has been trying to convince our little practice group that that Darius 3 as like a carrier, like a bridge to help play like a more space or pirate oriented build, might be like one of those builds to continue explore. And we're all like, all right, DoA. And then other people are talking about like, hey, we've had success too. And
Yeah.
it's funny because last time DoA did this, he was talking to us about a Void Brawler build. This is at the very beginning of the Galaxy set, before like
Uh-huh.
Gunmay and all those people who were playing it. This is like the very beginning, like day 2. DoA's like, yeah, like I really like this Void Brawler build. And we're like, okay, DoA, yeah, sure. And then it appeared out of nowhere and started taking some games at the top legend or top challenger, excuse me.
It became an option at least. It never became an S tier comp, but at least it got in there. It's still an option now. You
Right.
still see like Void Mech every once in a while too, which is something that I was playing a lot of
Yeah.
on my alt account. But yeah, I think it's really fun and important to look at the stuff people aren't playing and then say, even though I know this is probably objectively bad, what's the most optimal way I can play it? And you can really discover some really fun and interesting stuff and ways to adapt your own gameplay. Like
Oh, sure.
I end up using a lot of wacky stuff on my climb to diamond with 2 different accounts, and it's sometimes bombs, but it's fun to just know what you can do.
Yeah, I have no
It's fun
doubt
to know
that
the
there's
limits of stuff.
I mean, if there's any person that I would probably refer to, it'd probably be Scara. Scara plays so many
Oh
space
yeah,
pirate
man, he's the
games.
space pirate king right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'm sure
for a
there's
long time.
builds that you can use viably all the way to the top, but
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know any off the top of my head.
After doing it a
All
couple
right.
times, I'm convinced if your fundamentals are good, you can play like anything you want to diamond.
Oh
Pretty
yeah,
much. Yeah.
yeah. Well, checking in on Becca, who does have a little bit of space pirate, but also splashing in the usual brawler blaster package with that. I think it's very effective.
Mhm.
Seems like Becca is in an okay spot early game for her health, compared to say Milk, but things could change rapidly. Yesterday we saw, for example, Scott the Timo, who was, destroying the lobby early with his health advantage and then finished in 8th place. And he was
Wow.
very far ahead of everybody else. A double Shen shop. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
I said wow as well because she rolled the early Jinx as well and had great items for it. Giant Slayer and Red buff on there. Wow. All right. And
Yeah.
the items on Darius can get moved to a number of different things later on. Sometimes you see
Yes.
the MF come in, and MF can benefit from those. But it's
Hmm.
just really nice to have a strong Star Guardians, or not Star Guardians, a strong Space Pirate opening just to get that extra gold. She has
Yeah,
a very
two
healthy
very
economy.
opposite ends of the spectrum. One's very cowboy bebop, the other's very
Sailor Moon.
Monaco Magica.
Yeah. Oh,
Very
wow. Did I show my age there?
what with the
Picking Sailor Moon over Madoka Magica.
yeah, well, I don't know.
They're
Both are,
both
I'm
pretty
sure,
old at
pretty
this point, but
iconic.
yeah,
Yeah.
only one goes back to the 80s, though, I think. But I suppose as well, lore-wise, Star Guardians are all about sharing with their synergy, and Space Pirates are all about taking. So there's that as well. I like Becca's build right now, though. I think clearly it's working out,
Wow.
and it uses a lot of strong synergies. Puts in the Ezreal, could go for 4 Chrono or 4 Blaster. Okay, yeah, just slamming
Right.
it. All right,
So Fast 7 is something that I haven't really seen in quite some time. Most people seem to be favored going to 7 if they are like perfect win streaking at this stage.
sure.
Um, and
It's
then they can
surprising
like
before 4-1.
right. Not necessarily like it's incredibly rare, but usually people wait one round because it's the round before PVE. But felt Preka could develop a mini win streak here,
Yeah,
use that extra goal that she gets to develop more interest and be in a position to roll her third Jinx. Because at level 7, your chances to get that tier 4 unit for her third Jinx is much higher. So
right.
I like this play, and I think that her securing that might end up paying a big dividends. It's a very subtle play because I'm very greedy. I'm like, I'm at 50 gold. I can win around, right? I'm at
Mm.
87 life relative to the rest of the lobby. And Becca ends up going for a very aggressive play, which I like.
Yeah. I think, like you said, it does help her find that Jinx 3. She's already got 2 of them. She high rolled a couple of them early on. She just wrecked Delicious Milk's mech board as well. And
Yeah, and
this is I fear the Brawler Blasters player that gets a really strong start, because that can be one of the strongest comps
whoa,
late game, and she finds the Jinx too at
yeah.
4-1. That is pretty unbelievable.
That's a fantastic series of play events that led to this play here, Becca. And I know that, like,
Yeah.
obviously, yes, that was a very fortunate outcome, but like that's exactly what she was banking on. And when you factor in that another player, Dasic, was leaning towards that build because Dasic did take that Giant Slayer and he was
Mhm.
trying to build Brawler Blaster, it is kind of a race to get that Jinx too early on. So job well done for Becca, and that should kind of cement her stage 4 position. Like, I don't think she'll be worse than top 4 in her life total at the end of stage 4 based off the way she's able to nail that Jinx too.
Yeah, things would have to go really wrong for that to happen. Playing against KitingIsHard, who's going Dark Star, it looks like again. No trouble cleaning up that board, it looks like. But we're definitely getting to the point where the Darius is starting to wear out his welcome. And she's going to be looking for like maybe an MF to swap some things around. There is a Vi. Find one of the brawlers. Let's go take a look at DeliciousMilk's board and see how he's doing. He's got the mech pilot online once again, has a demo spat as always. He finds it every game, nearly every game. I think he's had it every time
Yeah.
tonight.
He doesn't
Um,
have the right items for the rest of the stuff though. He has a glove with Titan's Resolve onto his Rumble.
yeah, it's a weak mech.
Oh no, it's about to get Zephyred. Oh, that's really bad news for Milk.
Oh
Oh
no.
jeez.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
maybe the mech can 1v6?
if it gets an ult off, it can really clean up a lot of this. I think maybe. Oh, it
No,
did
it
not
didn't
get the ult
ult.
off. Couldn't
Oh,
complete the swing. Maybe, and even
unlucky.
if it had ulted, it might not have changed. But those are a lot of 1 stars, so I think that might have swung it in his favor. But no such luck for DeliciousMilk, and he finds himself at 22 HP at 4-3. It has been a bad
Yeah.
night for Mech Infiltrator.
Yeah, he might not make it to the Raptors to see the rest of his items at this pace. He needs to figure out something. When does he roll? And I think he's going to evaluate post carousel.
Yeah, he's got one more fight, but he may be on his last life after this fight if he loses again.
Yeah. And he has a Nico's as well. So the reason why I think it's okay is because I think Milk has the rolling speed. I think he's got the APM to actually do this.
Well,
Part of
when
the
you play the comp
challenge
that
is
many times, yeah, you get it.
yeah, part of the challenge I think a lot of people get caught into this trap is they like, oh well, I'm just gonna save and roll down next turn, and they roll and they hit like 20 gold, and that
Mhm.
like they could have rolled 20 more gold, but they were just too slow.
Right, right.
So a lot of times I think because I know my own limitations, I actually start rolling now if I know I need to roll next turn because I just want to like roll some of it and be able
Mhm.
to look at it quick enough. But Milk is so quick on the gun on the trigger that he should be able to do this.
Yeah, finds a really important win against KitingIsHard in that last round. Keeps himself at 22 HP rather than in the teens, which is pretty nice. And there is another tier there. Is he going to get a chance to grab it? Because that would complete the Seraphs on his Kaisa, which would be pretty nice. Or do you go for a mech item here? Although no Negatron cloak, so not as appealing. Soju
Right.
grabs the tier.
Yeah.
All right then.
By the way, Becca on that win streak, that solo win streak player in the lobby, it's gotta feel good when Becca takes an unconventional route to a fast 7. Really cool. Annie pickup. Let's see what Milk can do here.
Oh, my bad. He did actually
Light
get the
roll down?
Negatron cloak. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so Milk did win that previous round. He does have these 2 bows, which makes me think, should he just use them?
Like,
Like, what else are you
what
gonna
would
use the
you?
bows for? Another Titan's
Yeah.
Resolve, but that only means 1 bow. That means you could still use the other.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough choice. I'm trying to stream real quick here. Okay, yeah. So he didn't opt to use any of them. At least his mech has that QSS now, which is helping out a
Right.
little bit, but he's still taking so much damage.
Yeah. Oh gosh, and he just can't chew through this Nico fast enough? Or can
Uh,
he? The
I think he
Rumble's
may.
trying to
Oh,
survive.
Poppy 2 is
Yeah.
surprisingly good when you combine it with the Lux in the back line firing away.
Annie. Oh. Okay, Milk has almost no more room for error here.
I thought you were recording voice lines for a character dying in like an RPG just now.
That's right. The voiceover for characters dying in video games.
Anyone looking for a clip like that? There you go. Just clip it, extract the audio. You're
Yeah,
good.
just
Yeah.
yeah. Have your people call my people. One away from Rumble 3. I think he's gonna go for it at this point. Finds another Annie.
Why would you
Leaves the
not go for it?
Shakos.
Yeah, you kind of have to. There's a Fizz 2. That's a pretty nice pickup as well.
Huge.
Roll down to
Mech level
10.
6. I think Mech level
No,
6
too
is
late.
when it starts hitting really hard the nerfs from before, if I recall
Yeah,
correctly.
I think the first mech level actually gains HP compared to where it was at, but then it goes downhill from there percentage-wise.
Right. Or it could have been Mech 5 when it started like dropping off significantly. Either
I
way,
mean, it's
Milk
still
has
stronger than the
stabilized.
previous tier at least, but, not as strong as it used to be.
No, it's totally true.
Yeah. I mean, and we have seen Delicious Milk go down to sub 20 HP and come back and win lobbies, so it's not over yet, but Kiyoon with the Nico 3 pickup just now,
Yeah.
that's gotta feel pretty nice.
Okay. So a pretty good mix of compositions, which is what you want to see here.
Yeah.
Cybernetics, KO compositions, blasters, Star Guardians, Mech Infiltrator. Starting to look like a really well balanced lobby, but Milk here, our Mech Infiltrator hero, needs a little bit of luck to pull himself back in it. All gold? Nope. Finds a vest.
Oh.
That's potentially huge.
Oh, that's should be really big. I mean, having a second Titan's Resolve on a mech is something a lot of people want a lot of times.
Whoa.
Finds the Rumble 3 and the Kaisa 3 just like that, and he's really close to an Annie 3 as well. He
Yeah,
just
he's
rolled
just
down
gonna
here,
roll it
right?
all the way down here.
Yeah. Skips the Fizz. It's unlikely it's gonna hit Fizz 3 this game, so
Mm,
might as well not worry about it. Gotta put the
got it.
Titan's Resolve on there before the round starts. You can't drop the items on a mech in the fight.
Right. I
So,
think he
all right.
might go for the mana bug onto Kaisa.
Could, yep. The back
Yes, so
lines.
he
There
can
we
get the
go.
stun.
Yeah. So when you complete a mana item during a fight like that,
Woo!
you get the mana from the tier right away. And man, he wrecked that lobby, or wrecked
Yeah.
that board at least. All right, so Delicious Milk online. Looked like he was about to expire, but turns out the expiration date was later than we thought.
Oof. Nice. Milk, I think, debating if he wants to go to 7 and put in this luck for the Sorcerer 2 buff on his entire team, which gives the ability
Yeah,
power to your entire to all of your units.
I think if you ask yourself what's the biggest upgrade I could do for my board on that particular turn, if you're Delicious Milk, then yeah, definitely going up to 8 and adding in Sork, or going up to 7 rather, and adding in Sork is the way to go. It's crazy how well this build does at such low levels.
Yes. In fact, a lot of these reroll compositions. Holy
Whew.
goodness gracious! You just look at that mech blow up all of Becca's army, and just like that,
Yeah, that's a
Becca
double Titan's Resolve
back
damage.
launches, knocks her from the top spot,
Yeah.
or so we thought before Souless takes it. It looks like the lobby is evening up a little bit. The people on top are losing here, Doa.
Yeah, Becca's lost about 30 HP over the last 3 or 4 rounds, honestly. So whatever's happening in the lobby right now, a lot of people hitting their power spikes, and that comp that was so strong in the mid game for Becca, the Brawler Blasters, is starting to trail off a little bit. She'll
Yeah,
need to
and
hit that next power spike to stay in it.
Milk is encountering a lot of Shakos, and he was even hovering over it. And I think he's like acknowledging the fact that he keeps seeing Shako, and he's looking. It's like, wait, no one's playing Dark Stars. Dark Stars went from 3 to 4 people in the lobby to 0 people in the lobby. This is very interesting.
There are
But
really no
look at
Dark
the
Star players? That's
Kaisa
crazy.
3 and the mech with the double Titans Resolve, just smacking everybody. Milk is on a rampage to make his comeback. He's the only player on a win streak, and does he get first pick? No, he lost a 50-50. Kiyoon gets the first pick. Oh no. Oh, that's too bad.
Oh, doesn't get the opportunity to pick up the GA. Still lots of good items to choose from here, though.
Right.
I like the Redemptions. Shojin's is an option. Maybe the Bloodthirster. We'll see what I'm really curious to see what he picks.
Yeah, Bloodthirster on Shako is okay. I mean,
Yeah, no GA though, so I don't know. I guess that's what he's saying. If he was a Bloodthirster, is probably the best option.
yeah. Kind of unfortunate there. And it's so funny that him and Kiyoon specifically are tied at 16 HP, and Kiyoon got that first pick over him.
Right,
When
right.
him and Kiyoon had that, like, I'm gonna force this comp, and then Kiyoon's like, no, I'm gonna hold your hand, and we're both gonna get 7 and 8. And they both aren't playing the same comps, and they both might get 7 and 8.
Well, Kiyoon has not contested the mech all day. Wow, finds the Annie 3.
Wow.
And
Level 8 mech.
I am wondering if we might be looking at our winner here in this game. I'm starting to get kind of curious because this is starting to get like to be peak mech infiltrator here.
Yeah, if other people aren't getting their like misfortunes and their gins and other things like that online, then by all means.
Yeah. Still opting wisely to not really worry about Fizz. Golden
Right.
mech is generally something you never see.
Hmm. Kiting is on that Dark Stars. I mean, when we said no one was playing, it just felt like very few. But Kiting gets completely annihilated. And now he's within striking distance. Almost everybody taking big losses here. Rayditz is the first player eliminated. Oh
Oh
my
man.
goodness.
He had such a consistent start to the tournament, but these last 2 weeks have been a little bit rough for him. 2 Shakos in the shop right now for Delicious Milk. Not opting to go for that just yet, though. Doesn't want to drop below 20, probably.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And so, he's very cautiously scouting to see where he wants to position his Kais. And the mech always wants to be in the front, especially when they have Quicksilver. You're very much not afraid of frontline Zephyr.
Ooh, look at this double Zeeks on Ari, powering up the Syndra. And so her attack speed gives her a lot faster casting than she had before, making up for the nerf, maybe. Maybe
Yeah,
not
maybe.
enough. Not enough,
Whoa!
but that was
Oh,
close. That was fairly close.
that was very, very
Interesting
close.
interesting adaptation by Kiyoon to make the best of some subpar items.
Wow. Dark Star player
There
Kiting
it
got
is.
eliminated. So,
Oh, it was the Thieves' Gloves. I didn't see that earlier.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, was it Thieves
Tidings
Gloves?
out.
Okay.
It was the Thieves' Gloves. Yeah, I missed that earlier. So rolled a rolled a double Zeeks on a Thieves' Gloves. That's interesting. All right. So on board with Kiyoon now. He's looking to see what everybody else is picking up. Soju gets the Bloodthirster. Looks like he's going to get a Death Cap, which is not a bad pickup at all for this build, obviously.
Huh. Wow. Do you think Star Guardians can use Death Cap well here?
I think it can, but
Very powerful item.
I think his RE3 already, or his RE3 already has a Thieves' Gloves. So the hero the champ you'd like to put it in, can't use it. I would say
Syndra?
maybe you find a Xerath 2 and then put it on the Xerath 2. Otherwise, Lux would be probably the choice. Or Syndra. Yeah, I guess Syndra is lacking an item.
I think I would put it on Syndra just because I want her to try to kill
Yeah.
things quicker.
You know, the funny thing is, looking at the other items he had, I just kind of expected Syndra to already be at 3 items. It's a little bit surprising that she's not, but
Yeah.
Death Cap, a good addition.
Whoa! Dasek isn't just playing the blasters; he's playing rebels, like the classic rebel
Yeah.
composition with a Jinx carry, Gangplank in the front with the Guardian Angel,
Oh,
and
MF.
Kiyun's dead.
Oh, no. MF was just
Wow!
unopposed, and the Misfortune ultimate
Becca's
shredding.
dead too.
Becca exits in 6th place. We're going to go check out what Soju's up to.
Wow. What an unexpected series of results. Becca was first place in that, the early Jinx 2. I thought was going to help carry her, but she ended up taking too much damage, and now she is out.
Yeah.
And now our top 4, we have Soju, who does have this KO carry and is very, very strong in the lobby. I think that Misfortune getting a 2-star was a real key for him to stabilize here.
Oh, definitely. Going back to mentioning Desik really quick, he did play Classic Rebels in his 4th game last time we saw him in Giant Slayer series, so has pulled that out once in a while. Oh, Kale, is she strong enough? She's healing so much off of the Hexfire.
Oh my god,
Oh, wow.
no way. Souless is dead.
Dude, the Hex Tech Gunblade, and I think might have gotten the heal with the Hodge that time as well.
And now it comes down to 2 players. Soju with the Kale Misfortune carry and
Oh, here we go
DeliciousMilk and the
again.
Mech Infiltrator.
Oh, mech. Delicious Milk keeps doing it. He had a
Soju's
rough
like
start to the
really
day, but
he has the position to try to intercept this Kaisa, but at the same time, he acknowledges that the Zephyr's probably going to miss, and maybe Milk overcorrects it and accidentally hits himself.
possibly. Nope. Zephyr goes on to the Lux. Delicious Milk gets what he want out of that start.
I don't know if he can beat this.
Yeah,
There's
that's the
too much
thing.
pressure coming from multiple directions. Misfortune
Well,
got immediately killed, and then the KO has to turn around to kill one unit, which reduces her AoE impact. Wow, Milk is probably going to do this. There's no item that I see here on the carousel that saves Soju.
I mean, he's already completed his trend, right? Where nothing except for first, second, third, or eighth. So he's gonna at least get second here. Soju picks up
Yeah,
the Blade Master spatula. All right.
I
He's
mean, I
already
think
got 3 Blade Masters.
that's the only item that I think applies to him right now.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to rack my brain to find a way Soju can win this, but his misfortune isn't going to be able to ult consistently. His KO has to turn around and ult inefficiently. This is tough. I actually don't know what's the best way to go about this. He's playing 2 Wukongs in just to try and get a little bit more CC onto the board.
Yeah. Interesting they didn't start one in the backlines near his carry as well, but just wants to try to lock up the mech as much as he can, but that QSS is going to prevent anything from happening really. That MF gets a pretty good ult off. Splitting his DPS, but just can't put out enough damage. Soju gets blasted in oblivion. It is going to be Delicious Milk with the mech infiltrator once again claiming a first place. I think that's his 5th first place in Giant Slayer series. It's a strong build. It's a pretty good build.
Milk, I think, played that game really well. And like it looked like it could have been an 8th, and then he turned it around and made it first. Really good job by Milk to just pace himself just enough before losing too much HP. 16 is cutting it extremely close because at that stage of the game, if you lose one time, you might die.
I feel equal parts impressed and disgusted, which is how I often feel when Delicious Milk is playing in Giant Slayer series. He makes it work.
Not the best comp anymore. Why we feel disgusted when it's not public enemy number 1?
I just have bad memories about it. It's like the Yi comp in set 2. I just hated it. No matter, even if they nerfed it, I hated it anyway. Let's look at the scores for the night. Delicious Milk jumps up to 18 points in 4th place with that first place finish in round number 3. Soju, as consistent can be, with 3 second place finishes on the night right now. And if we look across the rest of the pack, Disick hanging with the top 4. Soulless up there as well. 21 better finish, finished in 4th, I believe it was, for this last one. Or 3rd, rather. 3rd. Still giving himself a lot of points. And so there you go. There's a lobby.
Right. So Milk with that win helps, catapult him higher into the standings and separate from the bottom 4. Rayditz with a pretty uncharacteristic bottom 4 constantly in this entire day. So not really used to seeing him perform that poorly, but it could be small things like he could be slightly out of practice. It could be the new patch. It could be he's not feeling well. Maybe he's just unlucky. I'm not going to try to read too much into it, given that we can't follow his POV exactly. But I think that my takeaway from watching those lobbies is that I do feel like the meta is maybe a little bit more wide open than it was previously, where it felt like half the lobbies were Dark Stars and maybe there's 2 people going Star Guardians. Right. Now it feels like people could really make deep runs with all kinds of compositions, depending on how their game is evolving.
Well, Rayditz is one of those players too who you would think would be benefited by an open meta right now. He likes to play a variety of compositions. Last time he played Cybernetics Chrono Kale for a couple different games. He did have middling results last time out. On the 13th, he got a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, and a 1st. So he did win a game, but did find himself outside of the top 4 for 2 out of the 4 games. So
whoa,
see what you can do. And it's going to be the super dense galaxy. We've got the Titans Resolve coming in when people hit, or not Titans Resolve, the Force of Nature when people hit level 5. Get that extra slot on the board for free.
This might be the most civil carousel I've ever seen. It felt like everybody said, okay, we're just going to take our own items and not contest each other for any components. Milk obviously wants that vest so he can start stacking things like the Bramble vest or the Titan's Resolve. As you saw in the previous game, very effective to give the mech damage and tankiness.
Yeah, pretty solid. The damage is a big part when
Right.
you're doubling up on the damage from Titan's Resolve. Your first ult just crushes front lines.
Yep. So with the Super Dense Galaxy, you are given a Force of Nature at level 5. And a lot of people feel like it is just pretty much a race to 5. Um, and if you don't get to 5, you're just going to be severely far behind because you go from 4 units to 6, and you
Yep.
might be able to deal like 15 or 20 damage to people, um, more than what they're used to if they're trying to like intentionally lose. So I'm curious to see if Milk's strategy will work on a Super Dense Galaxy. If he ends up getting that free force of nature, how is he going to utilize the mech infiltrator and survive? He can't afford to take that much more damage compared to
I
before.
think if you high roll like a really early fizz, then it's great because you hit level 6 or you hit 6 at least bodies on the board, and suddenly your mech infiltrator is theoretically online already. But yeah, if you don't roll that early fizz, then you need to play a pretty normal mid game and kind of be strong right from there. So we'll see. On board with Delicious Milk right now as we see how he decides to build his early board. And so, like you said, yeah, you probably want to avoid buying a lot of those early 2-cost minions because you just want as much money in the bank to get to 5 as soon as you can.
Yeah, so I mean it's not core to your build by having Annies and Kaises.
Right. Yeah, you need to pick up the Annies and Kaisas, obviously, but the other stuff you can pass by. Mordekaiser, strong early game unit, but this time around, probably just want to skip it.
Yeah, and I think that Milk's inconsistent performance, having a first and an eighth, with the mech infiltrator, might like make people feel like this comp isn't
Whoa.
like the comp you should be playing. Um,
I mean, I think if you're really good at it, like Delicious Milk is, then you can force it. You can find ways to make it work in subpar situations, as we've seen. But overall, I do think Mech Infiltrator is a much less forgiving comp to people in this meta if they're not
Interesting.
super familiar with it.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah, because if you get stuck just buying mech pieces and you're like, oh, that's another piece of the mech, and then you don't find yourself building a board that keeps you alive, you can just lose a lot of HP. And like even players like Delicious Milk, down to 20 health before he really comes online and starts win streaking. So a less experienced player is going to get kind of jebaited sometimes by the mech, I think.
Yeah, well, Milk is one of the most experienced players on Mech Infiltrator. Even when it's no longer the top dog, he only goes Mech. No scout, no pivot.
It's one of the things I love about TFT is that you can use like subpar quote unquote builds and still excel on the ladder if you're really good at playing them.
Right.
You can be off meta and still be successful. It's fun. Finds a Kaisa. Does have access to a Titan's Resolve if he chooses to build it.
Yeah, I think he
Uh,
still wants to hold off on the possibility of getting the Bramble Vest, which seems to be the best item. Titan's Resolve is by no means poor. It's
hmm,
just that I think he wants to see if he can get it. And Milk is obviously very comfortable losing a lot of HP. It's just that it feels like after the carousel, you have to go to 5. So as long as he's managing his economy properly, I'm sure he'll be okay.
yeah. All right. Well, Space Pirates might help him with a little bit of financial stuff if they live. Oh, Darius,
Oh,
so close to getting the
oh
dunks
wow.
going. I.e., two
Soju with the
star
BM pings.
Zaya, super good. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you definitely want to get in your opponent's head after you win around like that.
And I don't think he was going to win. First of all, there's a Zaya 2 with an Infinity Edge and a bow. The second thing is Soju's at level 4, so Soju very clearly
Sure.
trying to protect his win streak.
It just feels bad when your Darius dies midair.
Oh yeah. That's a foul, ref. Come on.
That is, yeah. Yeah, he should get a couple free throws for that at least.
Jeez.
Or maybe the free throws are what's causing the problem in the first place.
There
A
is something
throw, a
kind of
throw of a
free about
different
Milk's
kind.
board. I agree.
Definitely is.
Interesting.
On board at the Rayditz now, looking for a top 4 finish this game for sure. Cybernetics Brawler will be his start. Really early Trap Claw. Interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, an early trap call this fast based off Raditz's MO. I mean, He loves slamming items. That seems to be his thing. And if he's going to be slamming items, maybe he's going to once again go for a kale based composition.
Yeah, I
Uh,
wonder. I
oh
wouldn't be
wow.
surprised. He does like to play it a lot. He's getting it wrecked. Delicious Milk with 3 3 stars. Or 3 2 stars, rather.
Yeah,
Pretty
he is
strong board.
struggling tonight, but he does get his first pick yet
Oh,
again. We
no.
do see another full item carousel. There's an Infinity Edge
Ah,
on that carousel. You got to take that, right?
I guess you have to, yeah.
Milk immediately beeline for that Infinity Edge. Did not get it. What else is he going to pick here? He picks up the Death Cap. Everyone
Okay.
has a pivot. Soju with the Last Whisper. We know he is great on all kinds of compositions, but Last Whisper is also, I think, very subtly one of the most important items for a lot of those compositions. Like, I really think Last Whisper is super powerful right now in the metagame.
Well, the big debate is Last Whisper versus IE on Jin, right? And people are coming up with data to support both. It seems like Last Whisper is a little bit in the lead overall, but I think they're both still really good items. But definitely something you want to consider if you're thinking about going for a Jin comp.
Yeah. So now
Yeah.
the question becomes, what 2 units you want to put in here? Or is Rayditz going to very controversially not level to 5 and just accept his losing streak and take ungodly amounts of damage? He
That would
is.
be
Wow.
wild, dude. You've already got 88 HP. What are you
Whoa.
doing? I'm so
Whoa, come on.
concerned.
2 blitz versus 1. That's not fair.
That's double the blitz. And it's not double the fun for
Oh,
Rayditz.
wow, yeah.
Double the HP loss. Oh
Those are the
no.
Pound Bros.
He's gonna take so much damage. He took 8 damage.
Oh, I love it. They Macarena in sync. It's so BM. Oh, that's great. I just want to double blitz all my boards now.
I mean, it's legit good sometimes.
Oh, wow.
The disruption is strong.
Yeah.
And he's just bucking the trend, man. He's like one of 2 things is happening. He's very confident that he wants to keep his econ safe. There we go. Finally levels up to 5. Or he was like, wait a minute, we're on super dense, aren't we? Get 6 in there now. So Chrono Blaster online has Vanguard as well with the Poppy. Definitely a stronger board, but took him a little while to get there.
Yeah, so I think Rayditz, he's going to be leaning more towards that cybernetic, but he's trying not to win, so he's going to get that perfect losing streak. However, in Force of Nature Galaxy or the Super Dense Galaxy, it does feel a lot more punishing to do it that way. Is he also going to hold on to 16 gold and not go to 20 here? I guess he really wants all these units?
Huh. I guess so. Still very unsure about what he's going to build. Finds a early Cho'Gath.
Okay.
So maybe you can do something with Brawlers now? He doesn't have a Malphite, though.
Chrono Brawlers totally
Yeah.
as a viable package.
It is, yeah. But the board looking a little bit less than inspired right now for Rayditz, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Beccatilts, #1 in the lobby. I'm really curious about what she's building this game. So hopefully we'll get to look at that soon.
Yeah, from this position, I think Rayditz is just pretty much going to stay open to some kind of cybernetic or KO-based composition. Does pick up the gold, so I think hitting 30 gold would be really important.
Finds a Jace, sells it just to get up to 40 there. Finds a Leona too. All right.
Right. So he's just missing Malphite for the 4th brawler, and he can utilize the Force of Nature to give stat buffs. That is one thing that is really nice about the Super Dense Galaxies. That Force of Nature is an item, and you can just itemize a cybernetic to give him stats.
I always thought it was really crazy that that it gave you the buff even when it wasn't on anyone. It took me a while when TFT came out to figure that out. Why I used to think when I first started playing the game, I had to have the Force of Nature on somebody. But now it's actually good to have somebody on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's useful situationally. There is, like, for example, Yasuo will target whoever has the most items. So if you end up wanting to set up a bait so that way your carry is safe, you might be able to create multiple diversion
Right.
by having a force of nature be the third item on somebody.
Yeah, I think that's solid. Becca with 4 Blade Master 4 Rebel right now, so it looks like she's thinking about Slash Bros as a comp. But just finding a really strong set of synergies to start things off.
Yeah. Also, I think she's open to straight up rebels. I
Yep,
think
that
that's
too.
something that she's considering. And the last thing is, I think that she's most likely to still go for blasters. I don't know. Something just tells me that this is not really a true, Yasuo Master Yi carry build. Otherwise,
It
she would
looks
be absolutely jamming Rage Blade right now.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And she does have the red buff as well. But do you think maybe if she tries to pivot that hard, that it might be kind of hard to find some of the units she needs for that? I feel like there
Perhaps, but I think
Yeah,
right now she's also just playing like her best board, so to speak. And I think that's
true.
probably one of the best ways to approach the super dense galaxy because of how aggressive it is. I think you really do have to lean towards your best board.
She should probably pick up the Lucian if she wants to go Brawler Blaster, but doesn't go up to 20 by
Yeah.
selling either, just kind of lets it roll over. All right, there's an Ezreal as well.
Yeah,
What's
I
it
do
gonna
think
be?
that there's no reason not to pick up that Lucian. There's no, it's not reason,
Yeah,
it's not costing you any interest gold or anything like that.
right, right,
Um, But it seems like Becca, just quick glance at her webcam, is deep in thought about what's going on, right? Like I think she's thinking about her transition plan in general right now,
right.
and
Still
these
very
kinds of moments
much.
are hard.
Yeah, because like you mentioned, I mean, well, our conversation just kind of like shows that there's a number of different ways she could transition out of what she's got right now, and it's tough to make that choice because you're weighing your items, you're weighing what the rest of the lobby is playing, you're weighing your health total, you're thinking about your item bucket. What do you have a better chance of getting from the neutral rounds? But it might be time to make a change here because it seems like the win streak is over.
Yeah, I mean, you did lose to a Jace too from Souless, who has Darius outfitted as well. So
It is strong, yeah.
let's go ahead and check in on Souless's comp here, as Becca is going to continue to what looks like piece together a Rebel composition.
Right.
Souless, what is he going to target? There's a tier on that Vel'Koz, which is very juicy for anybody playing Star Guardian Sorcerers.
I mean,
No
if
one's
you
going for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfect if you've got a spatula because that's generally the champ you're going to make into a Star Guardian if you go 6 Star Guardian, 6 Sorcerer in a lot of cases. So doesn't look like that's the case though in this lobby. Nobody with the opportunity, unfortunately. It's going
Right.
to be another bow. And that could be a Zizarat, actually, which is pretty nice. Looks like you might want to save for something else, though.
Yeah, for Souless, I wonder if he just wants to keep this in a holding pattern until he finds his Dark Stars. This does look to me like a Dark Star composition.
Yeah.
Even though you might say, like, how is that possible? He has like 1 or 2 Dark Stars on the board. But like the way his itemization looks to me is as if he's preparing the way for some kind of late game Dark Star.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely an option. Runs into Soju, who may also be thinking Dark Stars as well,
Wow.
based on some of the items. But man, Jace is strong early.
Yeah, I got all that gold as well, so that win puts him to 50. Works out perfectly.
Wow.
And now the mating ritual. Is he gonna do the dance? I don't know. I think there's some weird bromance going on between Souless and Soju, and sometimes I just think you need to bang bros it out.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that, but I'm also not going to judge. Whatever they want to do, man. However you want
Yeah,
to play
totally.
TFT.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
gonna be a great day when they release from quarantine.
That's right. Get together in the lobby of real life.
Yeah, so the question becomes, who's Yasuo and who's Master Yi in that dynamic duo?
That's a good question. Which is the more aggressive of them?
I would probably say Souless is the more aggressive one.
I don't know them pretty well, so he'd probably be our Yasuo then.
I'm not sure though, because Soju's the one getting the Twitch clips on the subreddit.
Okay.
Yeah. Either way, looks like Souless is smashing his way through, collecting more gold. 3 gold picked up as he is pre-leveling to 7, a perfect win streak throughout stage 3. as he carries that over into the infiltrator rounds to collect his additional round of interest. Really powerful start here for Souless. He looks well primed and ready to go to transition to Darkstar.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, man. Like those items, if you get a Jason Darius going early, those items will just make you so much money on those two guys. They'll be hopping around, killing everybody.
Well,
Rabbits of Death. Oh.
what is he looking for? I think he needs gloves, and he wants. I think he just wants gloves. Like I think if you could pick what he wants, he'd probably want like 4 gloves.
Right now, his chat is probably just spamming pivot to Star Guardians. 3 Syndras in the lobby.
3 Syndras in the shop. Unbelievable.
It's tempting, but it's not that tempting. They're like, "Oh, you got a tier, pivot."
Another Syndra. Jeez.
There you go. Wow.
The game isn't satisfied. This looks like a fast 8 here from Souless. I'm actually very curious. I wonder if he is going to try to rush this to 8 and find a quick Xerath, because I've been wanting to see if that's a viable way to play Darkstar, but I haven't had, again, too many reps on the new patch, so perhaps that is actually the build and I'm just being ignorant towards it.
Oh, it could be. Xerath is so hard to make work with less than 2 stars because he's so fragile, but people are figuring it out more. They're figuring out the items. So DeliciousMilk, obviously Mech Infiltrator is the play for him. Mech gets popped pretty quick, though.
Oh.
Big Jace damage. That Wukong doing a lot of CC, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Well, Zvi gets at least one more ability off, so can she kill one more unit? She does not.
Nope.
Yeah. Soju, what is his transition plan? He kind of seems like he is pretty set in the way. Oh, he finds a Kale.
All right, well, that's what you're looking for.
I mean, it seems like that's what he's looking for.
Doesn't want to lose the cybernetics buff just yet. It's only a Vi 1, though. Huh.
Yeah, cybernetics is useful, but not super amazing. And the thing is, the Xayah, just as a 2-star unit, kind of does as much damage as like a 1-star Kale that has items as well. So
yeah,
totally fine. Oh no, Xayah's kind of caught up on the Shen, while the rest of the army kind of gets evaporated.
Kale also got grabbed immediately, so didn't contribute anything to that fight. And at least he can kill a couple of these, kill a couple as they come across the board. Take a little bit less damage anyway. Gonna sell anybody? Sells Zavai to make Econ. There it is, Aurelia.
Holy smokes! What a crazy swing of units and board. Yeah, this is something that I actually notice a lot. Like, part of the reason why Xayah does struggle is because when people start to have the unkillable frontline, like a mech that Xayah can't really chew through, or a Shen, or anybody with Bramble Vest ever, Xayah tends to just like not do anything. And she has attack speed and all these like really powerful items, but she's not dealing any damage. And then the rest of your army just slowly crumbles because you just kind of have a protect Xayah early on composition.
See, that's why you need the triple static Shiv Xayah 3, so that she just like deletes the back line with bounces.
Oh, look how long it took just to get through that Shen.
Yep, that'll happen. Looks like a pretty good round for Soju this time around.
Yeah, wow, that RFC is ridiculous. It just covers the entire field.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying.
All right, back to the carousel. What's it going to be?
Well, he does have the Irelia already, but looks like Kiyoon is leaning towards picking that Irelia.
Thinking about it.
He does have an
grabs a cloak.
Yeah, he does have an open belt, and so he could go for Redemption, which is starting to become more and more popular as like a frontline item.
Yeah, a lot of pros have been saying a lot of good things about Redemption, basically since like 10.7-ish or so. And it is strong. It does seem strong, but it doesn't seem like it's become a priority item on any comps just yet.
Yep. So here we go. We're going to hop onto Kiyoon, another player that's contesting the 4 Chrono KO carry build. Although right now, truth be told, I think one of the things about KO carries that it took me a long time to understand is sometimes you build the Kale and the 4 Chronos, but Irelia is like the secret carry because your Kale is like contested. You have her at 1-star, and then your Irelia is like less contested. And you get her to 2-star. Exactly this kind of scenario. And
Yeah.
if Kale doesn't really get off well, like the Shaco assassinates her, just like Irelia will be the one putting out top damage for this battle.
Right, Trap got popped, and Aurelia gets stopped, and that is going to be rough. She didn't kill the Jhin. Can Kale finish this off? Oh, yes, she can.
Yeah, protecting the Kale just well enough, and that's really expert positioning, really demonstrating why that pocket Kale is really important. Very similar to how a quarterback would be in the NFL. You got the lineman, you got the QB, and so that's a pretty good offensive line here, I'd say.
Yep, she's just throwing out touchdowns every half second. And it's also like similar to where you place the Vel'Koz too in a lot of comps, where you want him sort of like not getting jumped on in the back lines, and then up a little ways. Ooh, speaking of Vel'Koz, there's a Void comp.
Oh, there's a Void Brawler.
Who was running that? I didn't quite see who it was. Was it Kiting? I didn't see. We'll have to check that out.
Might have been.
Oh, it was KitingIsHard. Okay. Yeah, he is running Void Brawler this time, which is still a legit comp. We talked about it a little bit earlier. And with Super Dense, if you hit the early units, you can get that online fast.
Woo! And kind of what we're talking about, if Kale goes down early, sometimes Irelia becomes the hidden carry of that the composition. And by no means is it ideal to have just a Ionic Spark, but again, like sometimes you just need to rely on more than 1 point of damage, and I think that's like a really important thing to understand about the Kale composition is how flexible it sometimes needs to be. You can't just all in on the Kale and hope that it works out. You got to really adapt to it, which is why so many people love Kale builds, because they are completely dynamic. It's very reminiscent of Azir builds from set 2, Rise of the Elements.
Right, a lot of Summoner Assassin type stuff.
Right.
I want to point out that hilariously, DeliciousMilk is on the verge of going 8th this game, thus fulfilling the prophecy of only 1, 2, 3, or 8.
I mean, he has 12 life, and I think that's around that range where he starts winning again.
That is true. That is true.
But
this could still be a top 3.
Like I said, Super Dense Galaxy, I wasn't really seeing it, how Mech Infiltrator can transition smoothly into it. But, again, I'll stand corrected if Milk can prove me wrong. But I have doubts, to say the least, because I feel like it's just too aggressive of a lobby. I don't think he can get away with losing intentionally. Wow, Milk goes for Shaco 3, though. Did someone send him the patch notes?
I mean, he still does attack damage, I guess. 4 Chrono achieved by Kiyoon here, actually.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Kiyoon really tried to set this up to get 4 Celestial. In the end, made the Celestial Orb and has 3 Celestial, but does he win the fight anyways?
Oh, I mean, with Kale attacking that fast, maybe. Excellent. Yeah.
15 to 40 is a pretty significant jump, yes.
Beautiful.
I'm sorry, Rockon. Can you come back?
He needs to find another Celestial now if he wants to get up to 4 Celestial.
Oh, he messed up. He put 2 Rakons in.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, there we go. There's the 4 Celestial until he finds Lulu. Whoopsie.
I was confused. I was like, I thought he had 4, but turns out he did. He just didn't have the right 4 in. That happens sometimes when you're up to dealing with 9, 10, different champions on the board. A little bit of a win streak going. DeliciousMilk is out at 8th, by the way. The prophecy has been fulfilled.
I feel like he just realizes if he can't win, he's like, all right, I'm just gonna get it. I'm just gonna go in.
You gotta do something. I don't know. 1, 3, or 1, 2, 3, or 8. It's a DeliciousMilk way.
Oof. And the way Kiyoon position tends to be super good into this double Vel'Koz setup. Kiyoon takes a big swipe of health.
Yeah, I mean, that you talk about the front line, when you're lined up right in front of the 2 Vel'Kozes, that is rough, because there were 2 Vel'Koz 2s on that board. We're gonna go take a look at KitingIsHard, and he's doing what a lot of people do, which is put in 2 Vel'Koz 2 at this level, because what's better than 1 Vel'Koz 2 getting all his void damage, true damage in there? Well, 2 Vel'Koz 2.
Yeah, what I'm curious is, what are the conditions that Kiting has spotted to feel like he should be going for this build? And I think, is it like he got a lot of early Vel'Koz and all these items, Was it that he feels like he is safe because he sees a lack of a composition that beats this composition really well? Because
Yeah.
again, I am not super duper familiar with Void Brawler, but you are, Doa, so please enlighten me if you can.
So he's going to lose this, obviously, because Jinx is a really, really tough unit to go up against. But I think what he saw is that there was not very many infiltrators, which is one of the things they're worried about. And there was, I don't think there's anyone playing Star Guardians in this lobby as well, which is the other thing you worry about. Because if your Vel'Koz gets one shot by a Syndra, then your comp is dead, right? So I think it's the combination of those things and probably just finding a lot of the right items for it and a lot of the right units for it that prompted him to go that direction. It can still be a very strong build. And if he hits Vel'Koz 3, he can still definitely win the lobby.
Oh yeah, I mean maybe that was part of the thing is that he started finding Vel'Koz units galore. Although part of the problem is that he doesn't even have Cho'Gath 2.
That is a massive problem, actually. That is just some bad luck, man. Not having Cho 2 at this level, that is rough.
Okay, and Kha'Zix 2.
Kha'Zix 2 doesn't matter a whole lot. He's just there for the synergies, but it is kind of rough only having a 1-star for him too. But yeah, puts the Chalice in the Blitzcrank. So I suppose that gives everybody mana right as Blitzcrank casts at the beginning of combat. That's really smart.
Right. Yeah, he just wants Vel'Koz to use their ability as soon as possible. So by doing that,
no, everything was fine until the Aurelia Nation attacked.
Jeez.
Yep.
Worst positioning into that Aurelia possible. Oh no.
He had 0 defensive items on that Vel'Koz as well. So that is kind of, I think, the Achilles heel of this build is that, yeah, you don't have to worry about infiltrators or Syndras, but suddenly Aurelia shows up. And I guess he does have the QSS, but that doesn't save him from getting insta-gibbed by Aurelia.
Yep.
Just super bad luck to not hit the Cho 2, though.
Yeah. Yeah, Cho 2 makes a big difference, especially for like a clubbed series of units like those Rebels. I was actually surprised that he didn't beat the Rebel board because everything was clumped, and that means Cho has a really easy time getting the ability off. But
yeah,
Cho 1 versus Cho 2 is a big difference.
Huge. I think you're also seeing the nerf to tier affect things too, where Vel'Koz is casting just a little bit slower. That's making a big difference.
Vel'Koz died for Syndra's sins.
Yeah, pretty much.
Whoa.
Then again, he's still going to lose this, but it's going to be closer at least. Yeah.
Well, Kiting looks like he is out in 5th place. And I think he's just like,
Void Brawler, whatever.
Not really a good composition. 2 Darkstar players in the lobby that we see right now.
Yeah, I think...
Brawler.
One more thing about Kiting. I think he would have taken a top 4 if he would have found the Cho'Gath 2. It's insane that he had 7 Vel'Koz and only 2 Cho'Gath. Like, despite anyone else playing Brawler Blaster, you can still at least nearly always find a Cho 2. So that is just some bad luck for him. Yeah.
Rayditz, by the way, ever since we switched off of him, it doesn't seem like he's really lost very much since then. He's playing Darkstars as well, and he's the only player on a win streak. Dasic is going for his Blaster Brawler build, which seems to be his specialty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Thresh 2, that's a big pickup. Oh, he's not going to go for it.
Oh, Lulu 2?
Oh, okay. He was looking for Lulu 2 instead. Wow.
Big brain.
That takes
big brain on this guy.
Have the same restraint. I would have just like, oh, okay, it's Thresh 2. Huh.
Now that he has that Lulu 2, though, man, and his Shojins, that is going to be a big threat for his opponents. Getting the Lulu 2 ultimate off early on.
Really cool.
Yeah. Waiting to place his Zephyr to see who he wants to Zephyr. Going to take out the Shaco. Nicely done.
Very good reflexes. It's a Shaco 1, by the way, that Souless has. How much damage do you think this Shaco 1's going to do?
Oh, plenty.
I'm going to guess like 5,000.
He didn't see it.
He hit it.
He didn't do that much, I guess, but it was still Jin doing the carry, but yeah.
Of course.
Shaco 2, not quite as obscene as he used to be, but he's still up there.
Yeah, and I think that people like really just have to recognize that you don't need to do much to make Shaco still carry. It's just that when you give him all those items, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, but now you just don't make him your carry. Now Jin is your carry again, and he was always a good carry, so he's just back to being a good carry again in Dark Stars.
Well said.
Yep. The carry that once carried carries again.
Yeah. I need to kill Soju here. Dasic, he is one of the non-Darkstar players, and I wonder how he's gonna handle these Darkstars that are kind of flooding his board here. Oh wow, but Souless is gonna take out Soju.
Yep. I think the answer would normally, the answer would normally be Aurelia, but that Lulu getting in with the ult, oh, definitely want that Xerath too. It's worth.
Xerath 2 is a very big deal. If I was Souless, I'd also somewhat consider if I want to sell the Shaco to see if I can replace my Zephyr somewhere. Of course, if you're able to nail the Zephyr placement, you're just like, you're a god and you're able to nail every single time. Oh wow, what a juke by Dasic to put his Jinx on the far right side and then switch it to the far left at the last second.
Yep, you roll the dice a little bit there, but it worked out. MF doing a lot of damage here, but Jinx is so scary, but it doesn't matter because Darkstar is still Darkstar.
Yeah.
Apparently. Souless lives, really looking like he's on board to possibly win this lobby. Just Dasic and Souless
Rayditz
left.
Is dead.
Rayditz is out, yeah.
Dasic going for another Zeke's, trying to capitalize on the attack speed stacking, and Souless ends up picking up the Hextech Gunblade.
Interesting. All right.
All right.
So we've got this Cho too as well with the double Ionic Spark, which is really annoying to deal with. Ezreal gives the Zeke's buff doubly so to Jinx and Graves, but it's super big for Jinx because getting to shoot Runins with a Giant Slayer really, really fast is going to be doing so much damage.
Yeah. I do think, by the way, that if Souless is able to get first place, this would put him in first place for the night, and that would be something that he would be able to leapfrog Soju specifically.
Yeah, I believe it would. Soju at 30 right now.
Souless can't catch the Jinx. He keeps trying to, and then Dasic fakes him out. Instead, he puts Jinx in what feels like a suboptimal position, but the trade-off is he doesn't get stunned. But the problem is that there's just too much Darkstar damage.
Yeah, dude. Darkstar especially plus that Lulu too is just so hard to beat. Because we've seen, he can kill half the team, but the other half will just do the damage that would have been done by the half that is now dead.
Right. And it doesn't seem like with a lack of red buff to help spread some of that burn damage, and because Dasic doesn't have things like the Jinx 3 or the Cho 3, seems like it's just hard for him to get that win right now.
Yeah. It seems like this is as strong as this build gets without the Jinx 3 or the Cho 3, which are really kind of your, lobby winning conditions here. Ezreal gets Zephyred. Jinx doing a good amount of damage. MF, though, gets interrupted.
Oh, no, Jinx got disarmed.
Oh. It's like...
That's it.
Playing against Darkstars is like playing against the entire team, even if there's only one person remaining, and it's second place for him. And it looks like in the end, Souless will take first, and you were right. I believe that does put him in first place for the lobby tonight. Emotes galore.
Really well done. Souless, I think, has shown a masterful display of like Darkstar builds, even post nerf, and showing really good decision making. And I want to also give shout out to Dasic. I mean, playing Blaster Brawlers 3 out of 4 lobbies and placing well with them is tricky because I feel like Blaster Brawlers is a really easy composition to mess up, despite it sounding so simple at first glance, right? 4 Blasters and 4 Brawlers, like what else do you do? But that composition, like I know myself, I haven't had much success with it, and I've seen a lot of people struggle with it too. So Dasic, really good job being consistent with a lower tier comp, in my opinion.
Well, it's just really fragile. You have to really pay attention to your positioning. We saw him moving his Jinx around a lot at the end of that, which, got him farther along in those rounds that you would normally see, but ultimately was not quite enough. But certainly a master of the comp regardless. But
totally
exciting into tonight. Let's take a look at our final score breakdown for the lobby here. Souless does claim the first spot of the night, 31 points, 1 point above his nemesis, Soju, and Dasic, arch enemies for life now. Dasic third. DeliciousMilk still does manage to take fourth. But once again, I believe for the second night in a row, we're going to chat with Souless, right?
Yes,
No,
I believe
we
last
chatted
time
with him.
Souless competed, we also had him for a winner's interview.
We did
Yo,
indeed, and there he is. What's up,
Yo,
Souless?
what's
You did
up?
it
what's
again.
yeah. Soju is too free.
Soju is too free. Beat him by 1 point. He's too free. Why is Soju so free, huh?
I don't know. Free in ladder, free in tournament.
Oh, wow. Was there any talk behind the scenes as you guys were playing or before you were playing about it? Did you like talk about how you were gonna beat him specifically or what?
Oh no.
Oh, so it's only
It's just
you only
in
trash
tournament.
talk him after the matches.
Yeah.
That's wise. That's the best time to trash talk someone, I suppose. That makes
Great.
sense. So Darkstar. So you recently made it to challenge very, very quickly with a Darkstar, didn't you?
Yeah.
And so with the nerf coming in today, does it seem like much has changed? Like obviously Shaco isn't your main carry anymore, but have you had to adjust your play a lot in the last like 8 hours?
Yeah. I had to adjust my mid game and late game. I don't have to build around Shaco anymore, but I just built to win streak and fast 9 to find my core legendary units. And then it's just too hard for people to beat the comp once you get like 10 units in.
Lulu 2 especially seems really important.
Yeah.
That makes sense. What's your impression about the B patch? I mean, obviously it's the first few hours, so we don't know too much about it.
Honestly, I was shaking because all I play is Darkstar and they hotfix Darkstar. So like I had to watch streams. Like I had to open like 6 streams at once and then look at people message here in low chess for like 20 people to see how Darkstar's doing. I'm like, I see people placing bottom 4 a lot. Like they atomize the wrong champions, and so I tried to do it in like a custom game or like a normal game on Smurf. And it seemed to work fine for me. So I tried in tournament, worked pretty well.
Yeah, I'd say it worked pretty well.
What about Star Guardians? Are Star Guardians kind of dead in the water, you think? Or it seems like it's still good?
It's not that bad, but it's like it's not as good as before where you can like win once you hit. But like you can still guarantee top 4 if you hit.
Okay. Are there any other comps that maybe surprised you tonight, either good or bad?
The Baller Jinx comp didn't surprise me that much, but I'm surprised he plays so consistently with it.
For Daysik?
Yeah.
Do you think it's just a lot of good positioning? Or what does it take to really play that comp well, do you think?
It's a combination of how well you play your mid game and positioning. That comp's really hard, so I try to avoid playing that comp because if you place your Jinx in like your Jinx Blitzcrank in like wrong spot, you just lose so hard and you can't come back because it's a snowball comp where you need to hit like 3-star unit to win.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kiting tried to play a Void Brawler composition at the last second. Is that I wanted to hear your thoughts on that because I feel like that comp is kind of
I feel like he
right
tried to play for top 4. He didn't try to win because that's not what you win with that comp. Even with Chodri, Valkostri, and then it's impossible because Daysig was going for Cho'Gath. So I feel like he just tried to play for top 4 to like for the long run because points add up, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's right. I think this all but guarantees you in the top 4.
Yeah.
Or top 8 rather. So Socks in the chat wants tips. One of the top ranked players in NA wants tips directly from you. So what advice would you give mismatched Socks on his climb?
Darius.
Yes. See, I told you. I've been telling everybody. Darius is the key. Now, seriously though, what do you think about Darius in the game right now?
I would sell a 2-star unit to stack a Darius 1.
Yep. Exactly. Do you think there's any late game comps that can revolve around Darius or potentially even all the space pirates yet? I feel like we're close.
Late game Darius kind of fall off because people get like so beefy you can't execute them anymore, and then they also add Mystic, so Darius isn't one shot. But like mid game, early game, where people run Vanguard, a Spark GA Darius can just one shot pretty much the whole team.
Yeah, that's crazy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. All right, well, Souless, any other comments on anything from standings, the games today, your personal life, etc.? Your love story with Soju that's emerging.
I was kind of shaking because I needed a first this game. I need Soju to like get 4th or lower. Because I wanted to keep my 100% win rate in a set 3 tournament.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So that was pretty.
Good thing he's so free, right?
Yeah, the good thing he's so free.
Lucky thing, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Goddamn Soju. All right. Well, I think that's all the time that we have for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you in the finals.
Thanks a lot, man. Have a good one.
Thank you. See ya.
See ya. All right. Well, there you go from the man himself. That Darius mid game. It's that's where it's at right now. Strong unit. We're gonna figure out how to make it crack into the top tier late game. We're going late game with Darius. That's the next step.
Game by game, DoA. Piece by piece.
That's right. It's my new thing. Let's take a look at the standings overall for Giant Slayer Series. Delicious Milk, mech or bust, 1, 2, 3, or 8, but 83 points for him overall in the standings. Gunmate with 69 in second place. Rayditz maintains a third place spot with 66 points. Fluffy close behind at 65, and we go down from there. So really the top 6 right now, aside from number 1, very, very close yet. We still, of course, have another group of players that have yet to play next Monday. That's going to shake up the standings again a little bit. But let's take a look at that schedule, actually, see who's left, because some players are done as far as their games in the group stage go. Meanwhile, 1 lobby remains before the finals. Aegon, Tien, Souless, KitingIsHard, Kiyoon, Mismatch Socks, Tasik, and Crowan all coming in for one last shot to do better in the overall standings. Some of them already pretty high up there, needing to maintain, some of them needing to have an amazing run to be part of the top 8.
Yeah, and as you saw previously, it does kind of come down to if you're able to break that mid 50s and 60-point threshold. So
Right.
for some of these players who are in the 30s, they need to hit big. They need to get first a lot. As you can see, Tien is just rounding out a top 10 at 8 points. Or sorry, 48 points. But Tien will be playing in those lobbies, so he has a lot of room to improve. Mismatch Socks also has a lot of room to improve. I think Socks might be the highest point earner that has also one more day of play, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Fluffy would be, but Socks is right up there, right? Is Fluffy in our next lobby? I already forgot.
No, I think Fluffy played
No,
3
he's not. Oh, okay. Soulless is apparently. Wow, Soulless still with another one to play.
For some reason, I thought Soulless played 3 times, but he has a 100% win rate, right? So
with those points, with those points, you'd think he already played a few more lobbies than everybody else, but no, still one more to go next week, Monday. So that's going to be exciting. And I'm psyched too, because it's going to give people about a week to get used to the B patch on 10.8 and kind of feel out a little bit more where Dark Stars is, feel where Star Guardians falls in the meta right now, and see what else maybe comes up.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see next Monday and what we got. And then next Tuesday, a week from today, it's the grand finals, though.
Can't believe we're already almost there. It's been crazy. I wish this tournament could go for a lot longer, but we'll crown a champion a week from today. It's going to be awesome. And then, of course, on Monday, like we mentioned, we've got that last group stage. But shout out to juke.gg for sponsoring Giant Slayer Series! GSS in the chat. Find all the stuff you need, find all the player POVs, and then go to juke.gg to find all the esports you need, all the esports aggregated into one place, one easy to use website. And it's easy for me to promote these guys because I was already loving the website before they even sponsored Giant Slayer Series. So it's great. Awesome site. I use it every day. Go check it out. Thanks to them for sponsoring the tournament. That's about all I got. Anything to add before we close it out for Ronan?
Make sure to check out the Teamfight Talk Show. It's a bi-weekly podcast that I put on with Travis Gafford. Our most recent guest was Kurum from Team Liquid. He was one of my favorite guests so far. And we're looking to have, I believe, Soju for the next one, although I'm sure maybe Souless would love to be on it as well. I'm not sure.
Get them both on there, man. I want to see the fireworks fly.
we don't want like 60 minutes of bickering on the podcast. Maybe we do. I don't know.
Crossfire.
It'd be really fun.
It's going to be awesome. It was an awesome day of TFT. As usual, pleasure casting with you, Frodan. It's been a long, long day of casting for you, but it is finally over. You can go take a nap, play some TFT, give your mind a break on an alt account maybe. But that's it for us here at Giant Slayer Series, guys. Thank you for watching. We will see you next Monday for the final group stages and then the finals a week from tonight. So in the meantime, enjoy TFT, stay safe, wash your hands, and we'll see you next week.